Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SCS Season 4. My name is Keg, and of course, joining me is the wonderful and beautiful Connor. Welcome back. It's been a while. In fact, it's been the first time in this league that we've casted together.
Yeah, it's been a quick minute. We had our stint in the league that should not be named. We did a little bit of collegiate together. Our duoship it's strong with these two. So I'm always excited when I get up in the booth with my beautiful man Max.
Absolutely. But you know what else is beautiful, Connor? We have two teams tonight that are really duking it out, and these placements matter for them. But also some PCs matter too. Not all of them were able to survive for the Playday today. We do have a sub coming in on Visionary's side. It's gonna be I guess your kind of usual sub that you're expecting to see. But before we get into that, let's look at the maps down below. We get to see all the banned ones, and we're gonna be going to Kafe and what is it, Oregon? Yeah,
Yes, that is
that's
Oregon.
Oregon. I need glasses.
The sigh of eternal pain as Cafe, Villa, Oregon, Club. Those are the only maps we get to see. We're gonna see 2 out of the 4 horsemen of Caster's Bane in Tier 3 Siege.
Yeah. I
Overall,
want
I
to
do
see
like Oregon.
Coastline. I want to see Coastline. I want to see.
I
Actually, I
want to see a
don't.
coastline consulate game or like
I
coast
don't.
theme.
No. You kidding me?
Coastline and
You
then
hate
theme. Like it.
Consulate?
Oh, I love consulate because
I
it's never
hate Consulate
played. I love consulate.
because it's terrible. It's a terrible map.
It's the
Theme is
only
better.
map. It is the
How
only map
fast
as an
is better?
attacker. No. Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Are we gonna
Okay,
have to
yeah,
1v1 keg? Are we gonna have to
I'm,
1v1 on stream?
I'm down to 1v1. Okay, okay.
Not on
I'll-
Outback.
Okay, fair enough. But no, Consulate is the worst map in the map pool.
It's the only map as an attacker that you don't have to enter the building to win, and I like that.
That's true. But
Well,
hey,
let's
there we
stay on
go.
track. We got stat page. I'm
Let's
sure
look at the
Firmake's
stats.
punch in the air right now, but
Oh,
so is Team Visionary because they are mourning the loss of their player Tricky. Unfortunately for him, he did have a couple of computer issues, and we will have Asian, their org owner, subbing in. He has some decent sized shoes to click and fill. I'm
well,
sorry,
I
I
mean,
just read head clicker as the role on Martyr and just completely crossed over my words. But overall, on the Visionary side, they had near the back end of the season a little bit of a loss streak, and it's kind of continued through. They finally have broken it, however, the most recent map that they played, they won, and it was Oregon. That is their map choice once again here. And it's going to be up to Abadu, Badger, Panic, Martyr, and not Tricky, it will be Asian, to see if that sort of cold stint will come back, or if they finally stamped it out for good.
I really did like that metaphor about the clicking of the heels because they might need to go back to the yellow brick road for this one if they want to be able to stay in their positioning right now in the standings. Visionary, they've had a rough time so far. They were able to use Asian to get through the qualifiers, but then Tricky came back and, made his way through the season. But also, look to your left a little bit, Connor. You see a whole bunch of L's on the board, and it's some more red than green kind of light that we're seeing on the seasonal history. We love Christmas colors around here, but this is a little too red for my liking. Hopefully, though, tonight can end with another green W because they're on a streak right now of getting 2 in a row, but we've also seen 4 in a row losses right before that.
Yeah, now we transitioned over to Emergence, and there's somebody on the roster that we know as Goria. His role, he doesn't have a role. His role is just MVP. He's just the one that
Yeah.
clicks everybody. A 1.4 rating with 200 kills. He nearly has twice as many kills as the rest of his team, as anybody on his team.
Goria is a monster when it comes to the T3 scene. If he was 18, he'd be in Challenger League, maybe even in Pro League. But, because he is younger, he's able to refine those skills a lot more. And we've seen so many players in the last few years go through that same route where they are too young to go into the Pro League or even Challenger League. So they just hone their skills, whether it be streaming, whether it be in T3 leagues. And then once they turn 18, usually sometimes they're signed on even before they hit that marker, and they're already like a bowl through a martyr thing. They're able to just push on through and really show everyone what's up. Iconic, Bolo, so many other names. Goria could very well fill in the shoes of those roles at some point.
Yeah, they are massive shoes. Like the impact felt on the community from those players to even hold a candle in some sort of comparison will be a gigantic compliment that I'm sure Goria is going to love. But if we look at the standings here, you can see how impactful this game is. Both of these teams They're outside the door. They are the SpongeBob meme where Squidward's up inside of his house watching the other top 6 rosters run around because they're in the playoffs. Emergence, they're a little bit closer. They're right on the heels of the Dallas Vendetta, formerly known as First Attempt. They don't necessarily control their own destiny like the teams in the top 6 do. Emergence does have to win this out, as well as have a couple of other things fall into place, such as mainly Dallas Vendetta falling to Phantom Legion and maybe a couple other games as it continues. And that's not the best position to be in. But with that being said, they can take a really great step in the right direction, as well as really pushing Visionary down so there's not as many people behind them putting pressure underneath them. Because overall, after the 8th seed, 9 through 12, they're kind of lacking in the points department. It's not really as close of a race as we would like to see. But overall, having 3 teams in contention for that final coveted 6th seed is looking and shaping up to be pretty fun to watch.
Oh man, but even then, looking at Emergence, they are a single point off from getting into that top 6 and knocking what was formerly First Attempt out of those margins and taking their spot. But when it comes down to it, not all of us SCS staff are really in for their team. We have to look and see the predictions right now and see who everyone thinks is going to come out on top. I believe that's going to be Visionary's logo. I could be mistaken.
That is Emergence's logo.
That's Emergence's logo. I do apologize. I'm not a logoologist, but everyone does agree, actually, that they want Emergence to come out on top here. I'm curious to see what the second page is. Usually on that second page, we do see some staff members kind of play devil's advocate and disagree. And nope, it's flawless.
Wow.
Everybody this week wants Emergence to win.
Wow.
They're right on the cusp of winning. And so if they can't win this, not only will everyone in the predictions be wrong, but also they'll not necessarily be a laughing stock, but people might not look at them as highly as they did before. Look at Redux from from Monday. It's the same exact situation, but the stakes are a lot higher.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned the earlier games because I see a whole lot of red at the top. Just me and CD, my great producer friend who loves to time me out in CCS chat. Only Wichita Wolf fans out there, you know. Big shout outs to Anarchy, the highest rated player on that team. I love you, Grant. I hope you clip that and keep it in your bank forever. But that was an absolute barn burner of a game. Jazz and Crow did an amazing job, and I'm really hoping that this game coming up is, sure, these teams aren't as quote unquote high up in the seeding. Like it wasn't like number 1 versus number 3. It's number 7 versus number 8. But overall, with how close these teams are, they match up really well, and it is really gonna have to rely on, can Asian step up? Can he bring what Tricky was doing, take it to the next level and help out his team? Or will Goria just become the world eater that we know him as?
Well, I think it could be the best of both worlds for both teams. We did mention in the pre-show, Connor, that, filling in the shoes for Tricky isn't the hardest thing in the world. His stats have been okay, but they could have been better all the way through the season. And Asian, like we said, has been able to bring them to the qualifiers to where they are now. Goria is out of this world. 1.41 on the ratings is absolutely otherworldly. We also have to take the flip side of that coin and realize that, if he has a 1.41, why isn't the rest of the team even at a 1.0? There's something that could be wrong and exploitable if you're on the side of Visionary, and they have to find that.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people do VOD review on Emergence and just come walking away and it's like, oh, kill Goria, win round, easy math. It's like, that's not the most difficult equation to craft out. You don't even need to make a spreadsheet inside and like do some linear regression line to see that correlation. It's just kind of kill Goria, win round. He is plus 86. He has a positive ratio from his kills minus his deaths that is larger than quite a few people in the leagues have gotten kills.
Now, a lot of people in the audience do like to look at the stats. A lot of our statisticians behind the scenes like to look at the stats. What I'm curious and what I'm looking for by the end of tonight is to look at the kill-death ratio and the differential for Tricky and see what Asian can add on to it or even take away from it. I want to see what the differential is for both of these people and factoring them together, because we might get a really interesting outcome. And just because Asian's the Oregoner doesn't mean necessarily he can't play with the team in a semi-permanent place or placing. So, Connor, I'm wondering, could this be Tricky on the chopping block right now?
I think it's just an unfortunate situation because at the end of the day, the role he does play, as you can see evident Nomad and Mute. Not the easiest roles to play by any stretch of the imagination. You've got your flank watch, and you've got sort of a soft support on the defense. You're still going to be on site. You aren't in one of those highly contested areas. You aren't in like the high action, like, oh, I'm going on the deep roam. I'm picking up my vigil and going and laying prone in a corner and shooting people in the back. You're going to be swung with intel. They're going to know exactly where you are, and you're going to be one of those operators that are constantly in those clutch positions that you either win or you don't. Overall, like, you can't really be expected, especially if you have to take an engagement in range. Like, you got a sledge across the map looking at you with an ACOG. No, you've got as a little SMG 11 just trying to tap and hope that somehow you ride the wild recoil right onto his skull. But it's just one of those weird things that, like, you want to say, oh, like, Tricky's just not that good, but you always do have to consider the role, such as Goria plays Jaeger and Sophia. He has an insanely good weapon on both attack and defense, and the way that the team is structured is in a way for him to succeed constantly. And so far, it is working, as evident by his stats. He is getting fed like it's an all-you-can frag buffet. And for the rest of the team, such as Visionary, I am a little bit worried that throwing Asian in, maybe like they haven't scrimmed with him. Like, it's an emergency sub, essentially. Like, Tricky tried to get on for the game and his computer exploded. He just has the blue screen of death and can't do anything. And Ferme just whispers in my ear, Tricky is back. So everything that
Oh,
we have said is just completely wrong. And I'm sorry, Asian.
what?
We're not gonna get to see you, I guess.
All right. Well, I mean, honestly, if we can, I want to go back to the stats page and take a closer look at what Tricky's bringing out here, because you did mention he's a support player. He does have that lower rating, and that can be fine if you're a support because you don't have to go in and make the initial engagement. You're not the painter for the canvas. You're the ending paint, and that's perfectly fine when you're rocking the Nomad and the Mute consistently because you are the anchor. You are the stranglehold and the flank watch when it comes to your sides, and that again, that's perfectly fine. But what I'm wondering is if these computer issues are going to be any kind of impact on the match itself. Just because you have your computer working after blue screened a few times doesn't mean you're at full force. You could be running at half capacity, and that can affect not just your mental game, but possibly your hardware.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that people say when you have RGB in your computer that you frag more because it gives you more frames. At the end of the day, if you're playing on 60 FPS when you're used to 144, it's going to feel choppy. Your muscle memory
Yeah.
is not going to be working into your favor. And it's just not going to be a fun situation, which could be really unfortunate. I'm hoping on a hardware side that isn't impacting Tricky at all, because I wouldn't put that and wish that upon my worst enemy to have to play in 60 hertz like a console pleb. We're not
It hurts.
Sticula on his PS4 team right now. We are the PC master race for a reason, keyboard and mouse over what we love to see on the controllers. you know you play a little bit of COD. I know you have a warm place in your heart for people that use controllers.
Um, well, I wouldn't call it a warm place. I mean, they always have
Yeah.
a bit of an advantage over other people. But yeah, Call of Duty, I mean, yeah, I mean, trying to get a good amount of frames like you can in Siege in Cold War really hurts. It sucks. It's not fun. But hopefully this will run better than Cold War for Tricky right now, and that's the number one thing I'm looking into going into this game.
Alrighty, Max. You usually ask me the questions. I,
Yes.
I want to hear you. So we got
Oh no.
Cafe coming up first. I want some numbers. What's your prediction score wise?
Ooh, score wise, ah, it depends solely on how Goria plays. You could give me all the factors in the world, Connor. It depends on Goria. I would
Goria
also
drops
say
50. He drops 50
50.
kills. He
50. Well,
breaks his own record.
then I would say it's probably going to be like a 7-2, 7-1, probably going into this. But if
No,
Goria plays, if Goria plays a little bit more humanly, I'm expecting to see maybe like a 7-3, 7-4 scoreline for both games. So 2-0 in the favor of Emergence, and they make their way into the top six.
I don't know why. There's just something in my stomach here that I can feel overtime occurring for some reason. Now, as you know, in SCS we have infinite overtime,
We
which
do.
is terrifying. It is scary. It is, yeah, I don't want to have to cast 40 rounds potentially of Cafe nonetheless. Pretty much any map out of the map pool, Cafe would be my least preferred to see an absolute barn burner, such as Emergence has had happen inside of SCS. But I'm feeling an 8-6 Emergence. I don't know why it's
Yeah.
jumping out on me, but I trust my gut, and that's what I'm gonna slap on the table.
Well, it's funny enough. We actually did see the last time Emergence played, they won 8-6 on Clubhouse. So maybe they can continue that streak. But also, you got to look at the negative side of things too. If they're going to go 8-6 against Visionary, that's a team that's slightly worse than them on the rankings purely. So if they're not able to really capitalize on these wins effectively and go leaps and bounds ahead of them, maybe they don't deserve that number 6 spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. The top 6, this is probably the most competitive season of SCS we have had. You know, the top is really strong and the bottom is not as bad as it could have been. Like, there isn't just a gigantic dichotomy. Sure, we have Phantom Legion at the bottom, but it's because they inherited the score line of somebody else, which is unfortunate. And rest in peace to Dan Pog on that team. I'm really upset I didn't get to cast him again anymore because he is LFT now and they're trying to find somebody else.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because we were supposed to see Phantom Legion at some point soon, and I was talking to their coach, and I was wondering, well, what the hell's going up? You don't have Dan anymore, but it seems like they already have someone in line to take their spot. But in the meantime, their coach is going to be playing instead. But Connor, I don't know who that new player is going to be. He kept that very secretive, so we could see a new Goria, maybe a new glass cannon, or maybe even a fully reinforced cannon coming into the statures of season 5 to really catapult their way from number 12 to maybe even number 2 or 1.
That could be really fun, especially because there's quite a few teams that are turning 18 are going to be trying their hands in Sea Oak Walls come like end
Ooh.
of winter, spring, whenever they are. They're in like end of February. I think the season starts in March. You know, it's very cryptic with CL. You don't always get
Oh
the
yeah.
most information. Yeah, you know that better than probably a whole lot of people. But let's go back to the game at hand. Visionary versus Emergence. We said Goria. It's all up to Goria, but there is another player on the roster of Emergence who has quite a little bit of a following. His name is Son of Finn. He's one of those players that you hop in a call inside the general chat. He'll probably come and say hi. He's a really nice guy and really involved with the community. And oh wow, we actually have the game coming up.
We
That's
do.
let's go. We've got Kafe Dostoevsky, Ferme's hometown of Russia, coming through onto hometown of Russia. Yes.
Hometown of
Yes.
Russia.
It's not England is your
One
city.
big
Russia
town.
is your city.
One big town. Cross-continental town. Who's the mayor of Russia? The town. Is it Putin still?
Ferme.
Verme's the. Oh, okay.
Thatcher
Well,
ban. Couldn't have
okay.
written it
And
better myself. That's a one prediction that you're gonna pretty much guaranteed get right every time.
Ace. It's gonna be Ace.
I could actually see an ace ban. I'm saying ace or capital.
It's gotta be Ace. Capital doesn't. Well, it does make more sense now that the Wamai Jaeger changes went through, but I'm gonna say Ace just because of the heart breach. And it's gonna be. God damn it, it's Callie. Why? Why? You don't need to ban Callie, but the Lance Spears at the very least won't be in effect for maybe Freezer on Kitchen. I guess maybe Bakery Wall. But overall, I mean, you don't really need to ban Callie. I'm curious as to why that happened. I can't really think of many Cali players in T3 besides Bone, and he's not even playing tonight. But the Wamai is going to go down next. And Connor, who's that last defender going to be?
So with my band, I'm gonna expect to see a Mira because there's
Okay.
there's quite a few Mira strats you can whip out on Cafe, especially. She's terrifying. You can make Cigar and Piano even without a shield setup, essentially impossible to take. Then you got to do a white cocktail split. A lot of teams don't have that in their back pocket. But there we go. Big brain coming through as the Spaniard bites the dust. We've got a little bit of expected, Wamai on Cafe. Not the weirdest thing in the world, but the Cali is a head scratcher. It's a little bit of a
Yeah.
what's happening there? Maybe they know something that we don't. We don't know, man.
Hmm.
They're in our heads. They're living rent free, and they're just maybe trying to take some mental shots at potentially we don't understand that there's a Cali main on the other team. Maybe that's
Yeah.
just us lacking the critical information.
I mean,
But
that's
hey,
definitely a good that's a good interview question.
that is a good interview question. That's assuming that they win. They have to
Yes.
win the game.
But I do like what we do see coming out for Reading Room first. It's going to be an interesting, diverse operator set for the defenders. We do have the Valkyrie and the Mute specifically, I want to highlight. And I think that's really good for Intel and Intel denial. No Mozzie in play, but the Goyo's there to help kind of physically stop the
Defenders,
attackers from
protect your
rushing on
bombs from
through. And
being
that's something
defused
we've
by
been seeing a
attackers.
lot lately. If not, it's going to be the top-down roam clear, which again, the view chambers can help facilitate and make sure that doesn't quite happen as much. The black eye cameras, of course, going to help out a little bit too. But Connor, I'm going to ask you, what do you think is going to be the method of attack that we're going to see from Emergence? Because usually when it comes to reading, they like to attack from all different sorts of angles.
You know, I'm gonna go back to the feeling that I have something in my gut that I hope happens, and I'm just gonna talk about it and pray that it does. So you would expect to see, because Son of Finn is on the sledge, that they're going to be employing vertical destruction. Ben on the Zofia also has those breaching charges, and they're gonna just uproot this vertical roam that Visionary is employing on the top side, break them down, and take vertical control, start blasting away at the floor. However, Goria is on the Ying. And you know what a cool thing about the Ying Candelas are? Is that you can place them on the ground as fuse charges.
And
And rain flashes into sight as they execute.
They are very bright.
If that happens, then I'm leaving mid-cast and buying a lottery ticket, because I will feel incredibly lucky that that's what popped in my brain. That's the crazy concoction of a strat that I had pop off. And if I'm in Goria's mind, then I know that I'm in a good place.
I like the way you think, Connor. I like the way you think. But we do have the ace coming out here at first. We do have a bit of a roam presence upstairs. In fact, it's going to be 3 of them. That's over the majority of the team, already waiting to see who's going to drop down first. If Goria drops and clicks some heads, well, that is going to be a really failed roam, or at least a defense coming out from... Well, yeah, already Son of Finn, not Goria, is going to be taking down Panic, and your Jaeger's already gone. There's going to be 2 left upstairs still, Connor, and with already Cigar presence well under control of Emergence's side, that's going to be number 2 gone. Already Ben and Finn able to take down 2 of the 3 of them, and Connor, this is already looking very scary for them.
Yeah, the time management is looking really great on the side of Emergence, so much so that they're already burning away utility, and the final remaining member, Badger, is just hovering over the hatch, waiting to drop as soon as he feels a little bit of pressure, because those ADSs no longer catch 3 grenades. They only catch 1 apiece, then go into a slumber. Badger swinging, and he's not hitting. His whiffs back and forth as his head gets separated from Goria. A wonderful shot coming out of the LMG as another kill for Ben riddles the kill feed blue. Now it's a 1v5 situation for Jimmy Buckets. He's got to try to put the team on his back, and it's going to be a lot easier said than done. He's got a Nitro, and he's got an SMG-11, but the sight execute is coming through. A frag grenade as he's blind. He gets the Nitro cell kill, but it might be wholly impactless. As we already see, Evil Clouds is inside of sight and trying to tap away on the diffuser, trying to get coverage, but it's going to be the swing and the hit coming out of the AK-12 wielding Norwegian. In Emergence, off of the back of a very, very strong top floor roam clear, we'll take round 1.
So we did predict at the beginning of this round whether or not this would be a very typical roam clear coming out from Emergence's side, whether they'd go from up top all the way down and just kind of level out the entire process, and that's what they ended up doing. But in the past, we've seen Emergence go horizontally, straight from the second floor, or even down from the bottom and going up. But no matter what, it seems like it was predicted to happen the way it did. We saw 3 bodies upstairs, and not a single defender, from what I saw, was able to even connect a single shot on that top floor. And really, the only action, besides it being nearly flawless on Emergence's side, happened on that bottom floor where there was almost no contention, anyways.
Yeah, I know you came from fighting games, so I'm gonna put it into terms that you'll understand. That was essentially a JV3 stock. That was a JV flawless round where, you know.
I'm proud that you know that.
Yeah, that essentially is in a game such as Melee, where it's 3 versus 3 stocks that you win with 2 stocks remaining, but you have 0 damage. So it's like, yeah, I pretty much won the 3-0. It's like,
that's Valhalla. Melee has 4 stocks.
my bad. The JV3, the JV4. Ultimate does 3 stock.
Does it really?
I believe
you're right.
so. I think Melee,
right.
Melee like sometimes does
Melee's so
5.
fast, because it's so
Yeah.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when everyone's running Marth, Box, or, you know, if you're Hungry Box, Jigglypuff, it has to be super fast. Plup, though, does play a really good Samus.
Yeah, Samus is like, what, C tier, but he makes him look SS.
Yeah. Oh, there's Sheik, too. I forgot about Sheik.
Sheik just doesn't have kill potential. It's hard to...
Doesn't, unless you're Leffen.
That is... Let's hear the TSM man himself. Okay, no more Melee. No more Super Smash. No more Super Smash nerding out, because we do have a game on our hands. I don't want to get too off topic. But Panic, once again, gonna be all the way upstairs, as with Kafe, you get a lot of deja vu. You get a lot of the same thing over and over again, where Emergence will be going for a full top-down roam clear.
I really like what Badger's doing right here, Connor. He's able to hold such a powerful angle, but he's not able to find enough. He does find a little bit of Son of Finn that's going to take him down a little bit past 50, but you have to keep in mind, too, he's running the 1.5 ump. And while it's gotten stronger because of the more extensive sight, it's still just as weak as it's always been, so it didn't have quite the kill potential he was looking for. But already, that amount of pressure he put from the bottom floor, shooting 2 floors up and connecting, that's really powerful to see, especially up against the diffuser.
Yeah, it is interesting to see that the Sledge, who was going to be going for vertical destruction most likely as soon as Panic gets pushed all the way back, is going to have the diffuser because he's very prone to getting killed from a nitro cell.
Ooh.
But killed with bullets might be the Ash as the Jaeger's just pre-firing away but can't quite connect onto the head of the World Eater himself that we know and love as Goria. More intel being gathering as the rest of the Emergence roster has pushed back the roamers. They know that the final 5, so all of the defenders are going to be on the first floor. The only bit of site control that actually matters, because you can have the 3rd floor all you want, but if you give up kitchen, you give up the bomb site, then it's still not going to go your way. That's not a finish, just dropping the hammer on him, opening up all these angles, making everybody sitting inside a site, mainly Martyr as well as Abadu, feel a lot more pressure. And there doesn't even need to be any breaching going on because of the reconstruction that Visionary's defense has employed. They have rotate holes on red and rotate hole inside of Bakery. That's where Martyr is currently playing and has an avenue to fall back into sight as soon as Visionary loses a little bit of control and Emergence start knocking at the door.
This is the part I'm always curious about when it comes to a kitchen attack, especially when it's not from Bakery and it goes down. Goria, the World Eaters themselves, already falls on the white stairs. Jimmy Bucket's not probably realizing that it was a DBNO, doesn't quite go for it, but instead gets revived on the white stairs. There's 3 different bodies down there, and you only have a single shotgun to contest it all. C4 gets employed, does not connect. That's going to put the Mew in a really bad spot. In fact, he's able to take down, or Ben's able to be taken down, but of course the refrag does come around. The Jaeger's going to go down, but Jimmy Buckets is still alive and seemingly nowhere to be seen. He's hiding around a corner, Connor, and while Jimmy Buckets is able to capitalize on one, the smoke grenade takes down Panic instead. That's going to be another one to push on up. Jimmy Buckets is able to find another one. Babadoo helps out a little bit from the other side of the Bakery, but Goria is able to find one before falling themselves. That's going to make things an even 1-1 between both of these teams, and this Bakery hold from the freezer side, Connor, was really smart, especially with the counter smoke and the smoke grenades playing in the defender's advantage.
I praised the time management of Emergence's attack in round 1, but that was their undoing in round 2. They had a good roam clear and they forced, I believe it was Panic, who was on the deep roam, all the way back down to site. But they didn't get Finn inside of train until about a minute-ish left on the clock. And that's not enough time. That's what it really funneled down to. They were quite literally funneled inside of a rotate hole and trying to push white corridor where the defenders knew exactly where the attackers were going to be pushing and just sat there with a shotgun, sat there and threw smoke grenades. Just made it impossible to push in because Emergence didn't have anything left. They just had to throw the Hail Mary. They had to just try and hope that something happened. And unfortunately for them, it didn't. You had somebody like Abadu with the 81, the Alda, on the Maestro just sitting there and had enough bullets to take down an entire army. Unfortunately enough for him, there was only 5 attackers. You didn't have to take down like 50 people. Still technically possible if you're going for those straight one taps. However, that's theoretical versus practicality and most likely will never occur because Siege is, after all, a 5v5 game mode, like many other first-person shooters. But then, I'm going to praise Visionary's defense because of the deep roam that they employ. It was pretty much the epitome of what you want to see come out on your roamer. He raced hell upstairs. He was getting droned out, denying intel, just running around, making him seem very unpredictable and very wild, wasting so much time without ever taking an engagement besides the pre-fire as he walked down white stairs. And that just overall killed the clock and led to the kill of the rest of the Emergence attack.
You're definitely right, and something I was really curious about seeing that last round was that every single one of Emergence's members went down the same exact route, one by one down white stairs. That's not going to happen, hopefully, this round, because instead they have to funnel their way through Red Hatch and go down to Cigar. But Connor, You don't have a lot of options like you do on Kitchen when it comes to the roam clear. You have to drop red cigar hats usually, and if you unless you want to go for a different alternative option, you can, but they're already opening up the breach, so it's going to signify that they're going to go down that route. Now they do have a little bit of presence on Skylight, and there's going to be a little bit of presence looking at White Stairs window as well, but this is still a scary area to be in because you can already tell Visionary want to play a little bit more aggressive. Maybe too aggressive because Martyr takes down Panic. That's 2 rounds in a row where Visionary have gotten team kills. And I'm not sure what's going on with that, but that's a little worrisome.
Yeah, it's a little bit worrisome, especially because of how prolific Emergence looked at breaking down a top floor roam. Just like that, Abadu falls at the hands of Ben, who's having quite a good game for himself, already with a 3 KD. Getting those opening engagements for his side instead of being picked is always going to look good on your stats and allow your team to continue pushing through, such as we're seeing here with a little bit of a retro style, a little bit of a utility burn, but a wonderful shot coming out of Martyr will drop move down to Cam Duty and even up the man count just a little bit. The pendulum still swings into the favor of Emergence attack as they're actually going for an execute. Goria and Son of Finn both picking up kills as now it's a 1v4 for Jimmy Buckets, and he's not long for the world as the World Eater. I'm going to continue saying Goria goes for Gloria, headshot with that T95 LMG, continues to go burr, continues to pre-fire away everything, and takes another round for Emergence attack.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think we saw a single Candela come out that round, right?
Nope, he's playing it for the gun.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense too, but we did have the smoke grenades, and I really like the way Emergence has been playing these smokes because what a lot of players do is that obviously you use it for cover, vision denial, but what Emergence likes to do, right, is that they use it as a wall. They like to go around it and use it as a barrier. Now, if we want to go out of Siege for a second, we've seen a lot of popular CS:GO players do that as well, and it makes a lot of sense. That's a really universal thing when it
Smoke
comes
criminal.
yeah, when it comes to attack FPS games. So it makes sense, but we also saw it at their disadvantage on Kitchen as well. We saw Emergence push through those smokes, and they got mowed down by the Alda. So it kind of goes both ways, but overall, the way they aggressively push with those smoke grenades has been one of the key factors, I think, Emergence taking the small lead.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly that Visionary, like, they are treating Emergence's smokes kind of as a wall. However, if you're aggressive on them, they can be a very false sense of security for the attackers where you feel invincible and you're like, oh my gosh, you just headshotted me through the smoke, when all you have to do is just aim head level at like a little gray cloud and just hope that the RNG gods are in your favor and you've got Siege Jesus behind in your corner.
Sieges.
Siegemus Maxis. Yes.
Remember way back in like year 1 of Siege with the Black Jesus glitch on like the PS4.
I wasn't around back then. I'm new. I'm relatively new. I'm Wind Bastion.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm Velvet Shell. So what happened was, and no one knows why, is that players would vault on the PS4 and their bodies would stay like it spawn, but they would get this glitched out buck model just floating around without any movement or anything and no face at all. And because it's like T-posing everywhere, people would call it Black Jesus because it's invincible and it's just scary and it was powerful because you could still kill people like that, but it got patched out.
Well, that's good it got patched out, but overall, we're seeing the full rotation swing into the favor of Emergence as once again we will be going down to Reading Room, Visionary's primary bomb site. However, it didn't look that good, but that Nitro Cell sure does as Jimmy Buckets hits the 3-pointer. Shout out to Jimmy Butler, the namesake of that nickname that Jimmy Buckets is bringing in. As now, for the first time, Visionary is going to get the first kill on the board into their favor. Opening kill going into their advantage as they will take the man advantage and continue it through the rest of this round.
This is a very fragmented attack, and we haven't seen this from Emergence just yet. Banigby pushing White Stairs alone, Martyr behind the Iron Shield on the other side, has a great chance of taking down Ben, but it's really down to who can get the quick draw first. Between these two, the ADS needs to get burned away. It doesn't take 3 anymore. No, instead it takes 2, and that's going to get rid of the shield. Martyr's already backed off. He knows exactly what the plan was going to be, and now he's going to relegate himself to a safer corner. But now, because of the changes in Neon Dawn, it's going to be a lot more difficult for these defenders to rotate around. They don't have a Wamai at their disposal, and the ADSs don't burn it away as much as before, but Martyr's still able to find Ben, and that's going to be a solid start to help even things out even more for Visionary, as 2 of your members are already gone, including your 2 top frags, besides Goria.
Yeah, Goria swinging up, and he's going to be able to take out Badger. Some shots peppering him from down below as Panic is just laying in wake. He's going to swing out, take out the Nomad, try to get the Ying as well, but can't quite get it done. Pistol in hand, tagging away, but it's going to be a revolving door as Evil Clouds will be the one to swing and put him into a permanent resting place for this round. But it's up to the Ying of Goria, as well as Evil Clouds on the ace with only 30 seconds remaining, as well as 3 smoke canisters in the back pocket of Abadu's smoke, is going to be very, very difficult going for their execute. They need to just run in sooner rather than later. They needed to be in sight about 7 weeks ago, as there's a little bit of a delay, and Goria will fall at the hands of the smoke canister that he was so lit up that now the Candela will blind his teammate. And Evil Clouds is walking without purpose, has the diffuser, but nowhere near sight in a 1v3 unwinnable situation. Any kills he get here will be impactless, but as Abadu finishes off Goria via the kill cam, Martyr will pick up his second kill of the round, and Visionary have life. They've tied this game back up and are looking a lot stronger as they continue through on their rotation.
I mean, even from the beginning, it seems like Emergence kind of went on a bad foot. It seemed like their attack was really fragmented. I think that first C4 kill from Jimmy just really threw them off their entire tempo for that round because you lost one of your players early on. I think it was Son of Finn. And then another, and then Ben goes down next. And then you're left with 3. One gets taken down upstairs. And so you're down to just Goria and you're just down to Evil Clouds, which is in of itself is fine. But Goria already had so much damage on them, and they were trying to push a site that is probably one of the more defender-sided in the entire game if they know how to play it correctly. And from what we just saw, yeah, they do know how to play it correctly. Because the smoke grenades came out, they blocked Goria, they knocked Goria down. It didn't help that the Candela blinded Goria too, so you have no idea if anyone's going to be pushing you through that smoke. And Evil Clouds had to make a huge pivot around the second floor, and that was just giving them beautiful sight lines on Visionary's side to take him down. It was, in all intents and purposes, like you said, Connor, pretty much an unwinnable situation.
Yeah, overall, you touched on it briefly that the changes in Neon Dawn have been very impactful to the death of the utility meta. However, time is something that I would have expected to follow suit, with the 20-second executes kind of fading off into nothing. But that's been the name of the game for pretty much every single round of Kafe so far. When Emergence wins a round, it's because their time management was perfect. But for Visionary, all they do is get 1 kill early on, and it disrupts the tempo. It disrupts all of the timing of the checklist of everything that Emergence is trying to employ on the defensive side. That it's just, they've faltered. They've slowed to a crawl. They haven't been able to recover from any early pressure from Visionary, and it seems like they're properly reading into that. They're going to try to establish and get in the faces of the Emergence attackers just a little bit earlier. If they're able to do that, then there's just the rest of the attack is constantly fearing that roamer, constantly fearing and walking around with the just kind of presence in the back of the mind of, hey, we can get shot in the back at any moment. We are under pressure, but Panic is going to be able to throw a nitro now. Will it connect? Oh. Yes, it will. Goodbye moved, and that's going to make the fear of being flanked even worse because you just lost 3 air jabs.
Well, I'm glad to see Visionary improve. They went from having 2 team kills in a row to getting 2 C4 kills in a row now. I would say that's a pretty marginal improvement. And Moved, the flank watch is going to die immediately. You don't have any air jabs, and, well, also Moved has been having kind of a rough game so far. I don't think we've seen a single air jab go off yet. And so, while that's not necessarily a bad thing, it also means that the flank hasn't really existed yet on either side anyways. Panic is able to find Son of Finn. That's going to be him going down early yet again, 2 rounds in a row. But Goria's going to follow up too. Where is Goria this game? Well, they're going to mostly be grayed out on the board. It's a 5v2 right now for Visionary. They have a strong lead over Emergence. And now you're just down to a single hard breach with the diffuser, and you're down to Ben, the soft breach. And they're completely separated. We do see Evil Clouds though, Connor, waiting to see the roam coming out from Abadu, but he knows exactly something's up. Evil Cloud's kind of stuck right now. He could go for the flashbang, but he's surrounded by the enemy, but he doesn't know exactly where they are, but they can sense him.
As you look down the hallway, there are 3 blue silhouettes, and I'm sure if he could see those, he would be very, very afraid and chuckle and say, haha, I'm in danger as the TCSG swings, but it's a bait. Badger will be the one to deliver the decisive blow onto Evil Clouds, and all of a sudden, it's up to Ben on the Zofia in a 1v5 situation. Only 45 seconds left on the clock, typically where you would toss it over to another caster because the execute is looming. But more than likely, it's just going to be Ben sitting around, not necessarily baiting, probably just kind of chilling a little bit. And as soon as I say that, Panic will end his life. A flawless round for Visionary, as that is their second round in a row, looking stronger and stronger as the game evolves, because they really are making those micro adjustments. They're reading into the playstyle of Emergence and taking advantage.
Well, keep in mind too what is at stake here. We're coming to the close of season 4 for SCS. This is the game to determine whether or not Emergence can make themselves in the top 6, or if they're going to be relegating themselves still to either the position they're at in number 7, or if they're going to go even lower, depending on how Visionary does. This is a rough time for Emergence right now, Connor. It's a back and forth between these two teams. We did mention either this was going to be like an 8-6 scoreline, or if it would be a stomp on Emergence's end. But I think you're right so far. This could very well go into overtime.
Yeah, Kafe is in a really weird place defensive split wise that you can see Kafe really follow any scoreline depending on the teams. You still have to say it leans a little bit more towards the defender sided facet, with 4-2 being the overall expected split. So Visionary not doing bad. They can, if they win their top floor defense, they will achieve that, as Visionary will also achieve what they probably expected to have on their attacking half, considering this is their map choice. However, 3 3s and even 4 2s towards the attackers have become even more likely. And if you watch SCS, you get to see 5-1 defenses pretty much every time Kafe is brought to the table. It's just that wide variance in expected score lines is the sample data that you're like, can we even say what is to be expected? Is this new meta just really messing with Kafe in particular, a very, very heavily structured map that doesn't have a whole lot of differentiation between strats? Either the strats work or they don't. A lot of people run defaults, and it just kind of matters and is up to the teams if they're able to properly adjust, read into play styles, and win their gunfights.
Well, hey, now you got to give it to Emergence, though. On the attack, they are putting out some new things. Son of Finn on the glass, you don't see that too often. Plus, way back in, 2018, we did have the Ying Glass meta. And hey, we see Ying and Glass here. Maybe we'll see some remnants of that. Things have evolved quite a bit since then, but even then, we're not seeing your typical top-down push. Instead, we're seeing everybody pretty much repel on the eastern side of the wall, being scanned out and droned out, trying to force the rotation of that Echo specifically, and they're waiting to go hunky-dory into the site and just rush in. My main concern is that this will fail catastrophically for Emergence, but with 2 people still on the top, including the Gridlock to help deny those rotations and the C4 missing, this could easily be in the favor of Emergence going into this, but they have to execute this perfectly. And so far, it seems like all the pieces are going in their favor. Badger, though, gonna put a huge sprocket in things, able to find Goria, but still, your key components, the Glass and the Ying, are still alive, and as long as no one gets blinded out, they're gonna go on in, Connor!
Yeah, this is absolute madness as Evil Clouds is tapping away on the diffuser. Moved is able to take out Jimmy Buggins, but Abadu goes huge! 2 headshots for the Echo, as Moved will also finish off Badger, who was limping around right into the giant spiky Legos that the Thick Lock herself placed down. But now, Visionary has control of the diffuser, as Ben will also fall. It's a 1v3 situation. As you said it well, it catastrophically failed. Bar some heroics that will not be achieved, as Panics will just swing and hit right onto Moved. Visionary reads into the aggression, are able to answer back with due diligence. Heroics coming out of the Echo with the hipfire spray transfer, looking like CSGO, went absolutely massive, and Visionary achieved that 4-2 split that we all know that they desired.
Now, Connor, you have to ask yourself, with a new strategy like that we've only seen maybe in the last 2 years, only a few times, what the hell happened? How did it go so horribly wrong?
You would expect the plant to be on a skylight drop, not a swing in on cocktail windows, than just like kind of planting in the middle of nowhere. They knew that there was somebody playing over towards heaven, over towards, I call it Maestro spot, because if there's a Maestro on the top floor, he's gonna be over by that back mini bar of cocktail. And there was somebody on white as well. There was 2 angles for, I believe it was the sledge of Son of Finn on the window to try to hold in. There was a pinch well executed by the Visionary defense, and then we all know what happened when Abadu got his hands on a weapon and was swinging with confidence over towards the player who couldn't shoot back, and the player on the window who didn't shoot back.
I'm really surprised it didn't work for Emergence. I really thought bringing something new, I mean, new now, but that was really commonplace way back when. I really thought that could have worked out. I think if they were just a little bit faster on the execute, and this is gonna sound a little contradictory. I think if they set up less and just kind of like winged it, I think that they would have won that round. I think we would have seen a 3-3 split.
Yeah, and Emergence probably punch in the air right now. They're a little bit upset that it didn't work out. But now they do have their preferred defensive side that we're going to see on display, as Reading Room is the first bomb site, set up in a very, very similar fashion to what we saw with the Visionaries defenses. That, hey, this bomb site is right below the bomb site we usually defend on the 3rd floor. Let's hit Control C and Control V. Let's bring up what we're going to bring on the top floor, make them clear it, and hope that the time isn't on their side as they finally take top floor, then realize, oh no, the bomb site is a full floor below. We have to take even more map control. This bomb site really depends, just as an attacker, upon your time management and how fast are you going to be able to clear that room. How aggressive is Emergence going to be? Are they going to fall back early? Are they going to just go balls of the wall, swing everything, try to get frags, and really disrupt the tempo of the Visionary attack? Or will they play a bit more passive? However, with the air jabs being set up over here and a Nomad and a couple of other executes, we might see the SSG style attack of Reading, where all you need to take is Piano and Cocktail, do a little bit of vertical destruction, and then execute over towards the A bomb site, vacating Train, as that is, if you can see that drone over on the bottom side, really starting to look around. You have Nomads to cut off all of those rotations, and you're going to leave Badger up there with a very powerful weapon in the form of the L85, holding long angles to make sure that Emergence feels like something is still coming on the top side. They're still going to stay home, and all of a sudden, site control is in the hands of the attackers.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the next steps for Emergence are going to be. We haven't seen them on the defense just yet. It's going to be the first round in the second half, but already, like you mentioned, Connor, full control of the top floor, and Panic's slowly slithering his way down to the second floor as well. That diffuser's not too... The bomb site itself, Gory is still going to be playing on the top floor and only has the laundry hatch in a small rotation to make work if things go sour. But as the Ace Charge is able to open up the wall and pillar, he is going to have a full lot of sight, able to plant and evacuate as soon as possible. But it's also a much slower round. We haven't seen too much action yet. Son of Vin's going to take quite a bit of damage, so much so that he dies. And that's me. Panic's able to take him down with a pistol, and that's full control of the site as well. But with that being said, Gory is going to drop on down. He's almost going to find the head of the Ash, able to collect up on it after taking some damage, but Moved is going to find one as well. With that being said, you only have 2 attackers left alive, with the defense being fully capable of taking back the site. Gory with a triple kill, like you mentioned, Connor, being an absolute world eater, is going to be taken down. The world has not been eaten, but the round is still in the favor of Emergence. They may have dined, but they didn't quite get the full meal, but Emergence still got the round in their favor. And Visionary, they came so close to bringing that to themselves and getting that 5-2 split, but Emergence, especially Goria, came in time for the triple clutch.
You have to say that the attack overall did fail, but it was because they didn't have necessary coverage to cut rotations and allowed the Emergence defense to realize what was going on. The thing about this style of attack, that sort of hybrid horizontal vertical take where you don't necessarily fully clear the roam on the top side, is you got to do it fast. You got to catch them when they're off guard. And overall, the Visionary attack, we're kind of caught twiddling their thumbs inside of pillars, and that's an absolute death box, especially if you don't have full top floor control. You can be swung by any of the balconies and just rained upon death from the heavens. Quite literally, heaven. That's a call out that you can easily be killed from. And as soon as you start breaching that pillar's wall, you have to be ready to go, because as soon as one of the anchors, mainly like the smoke or the mute or whoever is the SMG-11 inside of sight, goes, "Hey guys, they're breaching. Can you please help me?" There's gonna be players dropping down white, dropping down the hatch, jumping over inside of pillars, being aggressive, taking those gunfights that you're going to eventually end up trying to execute on a site with 5 people watching maybe 2 entries. And I'm not a math major, I'm an engineering major, but those odds don't look quite that good.
Isn't being an engineering major like being a math major?
More like a closer to a physics major, more so than
Isn't
math.
that math? Isn't that still math?
It's like applied theory more so.
Like, you don't go to school, like in college, to be a math major. Like,
Yeah, people do. People do.
Really?
Yeah, I know quite a
do
few
with
math
that?
majors.
What do you do with that, though?
Become a professor.
Really? You go to school to be taught by a professor, to be a professor. Doesn't that seem kind of
There's
weird?
a lot of there's some applied mathematics that you can do, especially like with analytical works or like computer learning with simulations and stuff like that. But that's neither
Oh,
here nor
okay.
there.
Oh,
Mozzie got a drone, more intel for the side of the defense, as the rest of the team is just kind of realizing, hey, our drones are being cut off. Mute Mozzie combination with a vigil. I don't want to quite read the SSG script that I know Crow would love me to read, but it's not the same map. However, with the way that the roam is set up, that's the name of the game. Intel denial. For Moved, he doesn't want them to know where he is. He wants them to be constantly on their toes, constantly in fears with that little bit of worry just rooted in the back
oh,
of the brain
Jimmy.
of the attackers, and boom, just like that, Goria's gonna swing up white, take out Jimmy Buckets, and a very, very big pick onto the Zofia will remove a lot of utility on the side of Visionary's attack.
Oh, we've seen a lot of work coming out from Visionary so far, but they've yet to get the meat of the site. Just, yeah, Panix is able to clap things back and make things even with taking down Ben, but Move is going to take damage from God knows where. It's actually going to be around the corner in a blind spot.
He
Gloria's
shot his
able to take down
feet.
Panix. Yeah, ouch, that's got to hurt. Martyr's able to find Moved as well, but now everyone's slowly consolidating themselves back onto the site. The attackers are not too far away. They're slowly getting closer, but they're unable to find the final three. Gory is hiding God knows where, according to these attackers, but the air jabs are the only thing to help them get onto the site. They have to flank watch now, or it's going to be a destruction if Gory is able to find leeway back in. But there's no doubt in my mind, Connor, that he can hear those air jabs right around the corner as we see these last two of the three. Never mind, they die! They get exploded! A double kill C4 from Evo Clouds is able to take both of them down. It's the diffuser in hand, and suddenly Badger on the other side of the site, no diffuser in hand, a 1v3 with no intel, has to clutch it out. Of course he's not going to make it. He's almost able to find one, but Son of Finn, shotgun in hand, is able to find Badger and snipe him in the face. Wow, what an absolute collapse.
I'm quite literally speechless because I just saw one of the best throws I've ever seen. And not saying that somebody threw. That was, I think, somebody needs to go to the NBA or the NFL as a quarterback. Evil Clouds, what a wonderful nitro through those pre-made holes at the top over towards Whiskey Bar. That completely, that right there, the roam was good. Everybody fell back to sight and the execute was looming like it could have gone either way. Then all of a sudden, the Malusi of Evil Clouds just said no. He just said, "Hey, here's a little gift. It's Christmas early. I'm gonna throw this over the wall, give it a quick call, and boom, two players gone. Diffuser on the other side of the map. This pinch that was being employed by the attackers, all of a sudden became very one-pronged in a 1v3 situation. And I don't care who you are, you're not winning that without Diffuser. There was really no chance for the IQ of Badger to really do anything. Sure, he had a G8, but that's not the best weapon to have when there's just a mute sitting around a corner with a Mossberg that's going to fill you up with a whole lot of buckshot pellets, which, as evidence what we saw, the shotgun should win that engagement pretty much every single time. And he did.
I don't have any data to back this up, but I'm pretty sure throwing that C4 over the bar wall is the hardest C4 in the entire game.
It is really hard to get right.
I think it is. Like, I can't think of any other crazy C4s like that.
The one at the bottom of Clubhouse, like from church into bottom main, that one's pretty difficult, but there is like a certified lineup for it. But
like,
that one over the bar, that's a feeling, Nitro. There isn't like a necessary
yeah,
full lineup. Like you just have to think like, are they on the right or the left, and let's throw it that way.
you
And
know,
it is
like,
very difficult.
like when Luke turns off the targeting computer in A New Hope just to get the exhaust port to be shot out to take down the Death Star. That's how it feels. Like you can't measure that out because it's such a small line below and above. That's really, really hard to get down. And not only do you have to arc it right, but you have to make sure it doesn't get hit by such a small sliver. But speaking of slivers, we do have the clash at the top of White Stairs. It's stalling out Panic and Jimmy just a little bit more. barbed wire also going to be in play. It's going to impede so much movement and allow a lot of flank possibilities, but that clash is still there, and little do they know, there's also going to be one hiding right on the floor. He's spotted out though, and that's going to be full permission for both of them to charge the clash. She's going to be stoned, not stoned now, but she's going to be concussed and now has to reside herself away from the top and give a little bit of permission for someone to repel on the white window. Whether they're going to do that or not, the answer is probably going to be no, because Jimmy Buckets is going to fall to Goria and Badger's going to clap back and find that same exact World Eater. Now, Connor, things are a 4v4 now, and you've lost your top frag on at least the defending side, but you still have Panics roaming around scot-free on the attack, and he's not really been contested just yet.
Yeah, Ben has taken a lot of damage, so essentially a 4v3.5. I'll say 3.5 because Son of Finn doesn't have a primary weapon, and will just be sitting behind, as that's exactly where Martyr's going to come as he swings from heaven right to the Nightmare of Ben, and will finish off the Jaeger from that balcony. Now Son of Finn has to worry about that area. The man advantage is in the hands of Visionary's attack, as well as a lot of vertical pressure being employed from down below, as the Buck is using the Master Key shotgun to make it feel like a landmine, as Martyr hits an absolute heater onto Evil Cloud. The swing from the aforementioned clash will finish him off for the refrag, but now it's still a 3v2 situation. Make that a 3v1 as Moved goes bye-bye. It's all Son of Finn, always has been. Avenue Panic and Badger trying to find this wonderful British lady, and are going to be pulling her out with the execute. The first kill goes right into the hands of Son of Finn. He still needs to find 2 more as he actually sees the Ash, but can't quite get the shot, but yes, he does. The headshot goes on to Panic. This is looking more and more winnable. However, from down below is Avenue as he's dropped to try to protect the diffuser from vertical pressure. However, there's no holes beneath it. He's going to have to pre-fire blind. And Son of Finn seems to think that he's going to stick it. He's got balls of steels in this situation, and he gets the clutch. What a wonderful play by the Clash's Emergence. Take a round that they have no business winning.
I really have to wonder why they would want to plant in that specific spot. I mean, I understand why. They were probably assuming that the defuse would come from like the the rightmost side, I guess. But going that far deep in long army, it should be pretty obvious too. Now, of course, you would expect to be planting and have the defuse in a 3v1. You still had Panic upstairs holding the site, but you were up against a clash. You need to have those multiple angles, and having the ace downstairs is a really risky situation. And unfortunately, they gambled wrong. They didn't get it, and Emergence sneaks out with a lead that they haven't had in ever, pretty much. It's mostly been Visionary taking this lead up until now, and it seems like this is going to be a Kafe that's defender-sided if this trend keeps on going. Now, something we haven't seen too often yet, though, Connor, not only that are diffuses, we've also haven't seen this lengthy of a reading and mining defense, because so far, it has really just been kind of a back and forth on this site, and I'm wondering if we can see another plant here.
Yeah, I mean, the plant is coming through, as potentially a rehost might follow after. Okay, no, those are my 2 least favorite letters to be put into chat, and that makes me smile. That makes me happy that we aren't going to have a lull in the action and awkwardly have to waffle about while we hope Henry has the fastest fingers in the West on the rehost and make sure everything is okay.
Well, no, you can pause now. You can pause now. This is the
that's right.
I want to see that. I want to see that pause.
Yeah, can we actually get a rehost? I want to pause the game.
I don't think you have to rehost. Oh no.
Oh, it's beta only.
It's gonna be patched tomorrow. Yeah. Crap. Don't rehost.
You got my hopes up. You got my hopes up, man. But look, the points are up for Emergence as they've won 3 in a row. Perfect site rotation, looking flawlessly as they took the defending role away from Visionary at the half swap. And since then, it's been lights out. Everybody on the side of the defense has been just fragging, as Visionary has really struggled to get the ball rolling. Really indicative of this being a pretty defender-sided Kafe. However, it could be even more so defender-sided than we once thought with the 4-2 split. Maybe even more so as Emergence could continue to go through. We might not even need overtime if they're able to win 2 out of these next 3 rounds. And they've already proved that they can win all 3 of these bomb sites.
One thing I really liked seeing on Visionary's attack, and we didn't see too much of this on Emergence's attack, is that they're playing much more coordinated and together. Emergence has the ability to play these 1v1s really effectively, even on the defense, and we're seeing that on the top of White Stairs with Evil Clouds as we speak, but Jimmy Buckets is letting his teammates drone him out. There's a considerable amount of trust there, especially in a T3 league, That's not something you see every day, but it's a mandatory mainstay if you want to go higher up. That's really good to see. Now, Jimmy Buckets, though, he'll be trying to find Evil Clouds, but he's going to duck away and hide out and make sure he doesn't get taken down too early. But with nobody in the bathroom, it's going to be full permission to possibly move on forwards down the hall if he wants to take the risk on a flick coming out from the leftmost side. But that could be a yes and it could be a no, depending on what Gory is feeling today.
Yeah, Ben's going to be able to take out Badger. No more IQ, no more G8 crutches. Jimmy Buckets is walking up, but he doesn't seem to know what's happening. Evil Cloud's going big, trying to get a Nitro, and he'll down it off and finish via the Commando. Now it's a 4v2 situation as the attack from Visionary has just fallen apart. Once again, they're going for this not traditional full vertical roam extension. However, it's just not working out. You're still allowing the defenders to get pressure onto you and make you feel uncomfortable as you're taking any bit of map control. Now you're forced to just go in a one-directional attack over towards the Hell doorway, and that's going to be the territory of Moved, choking out as soon as that 30-second mark's hit with the Toxic Babe canisters, a couple of Nitro cells still in the back pocket of both Sun and Finn, and Evil Clouds, and no breaches opened up as the execute looms ahead.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this is going to end up going. Right now, the entire round's in the favor of Emergence. Panics is able to find Finn, and slowly the numbers are dwindling back to each other. BO2 is able to find a double kill, too. It's a 2v2. But your top frag is lit up. He's relegated to the pillars, and if he moves, he's going to die. But now Panic is able to get away. In fact, the smoke grenade's going to be a little bit in his way. He's going to cough it through, however, and they're going to try to pinch through the smoke. He's going to be stuck in the 90 corner. Move is able to find one, no, two, a double kill to save the day, make that lead go a little bit more pendulum swinging in their favor. And suddenly, like a blink of an eye, Connor, we're now at match point in the favor of Emergence. Remember way back, this was 4-2 in the favor of Visionary. This defense has been nearly flawless for them. I'm sorry, 3-2, and then became 4-2, and then a flawless run from there.
Yeah, this is shaping up to just be a super defender-sided Kafe, as right now, Visionary are staring down the barrel of the gun. After getting your 4-2 split that you would have wanted on the defense, their attacks have not been up to snuff, and Emergence is just smothering them with pressure. Sure, the last two rounds have come down to a clutch, big players stepping up when they needed to. But overall, the entire situation leading up to the execute has looked oh so good for Emergence. They're wasting enough time in forcing the Visionary attackers to feel uncomfortable and have to go for these hero plays that the players are just kind of properly reading into. Sure, that was a 1v2 situation, but that's arguably one of the worst positions to be in as an attacker when there's only 5 seconds left on the clock. Because sure, in a 2v1 you have the man advantage. However, one of your players are going to be taken out of commission typing on the diffuser. Then essentially it's a 1v1. And then Sonafin, or whoever, no, pardon me, it was Moved last round, is just able to properly isolate out the two remaining players, take a 1v1 engagement, a series of just uno v uno, mano y mano, win both of them outright, mainly because one of the players couldn't shoot back or else the round would have instantly ended. But the shot on the Ash was really nice. Panic not quite getting what he would have liked to, because he was quite taken aback that the smoke was just kind of right next to him in the doorway that he shift W'd straight through. However, that's what those uncomfortable positions do to players. You kind of get put into those spots where you don't really know what to do. You're kind of just nerves on your head. And now, Visionary's trying to change things up. They know that their overall structured attacks haven't worked. That's why they're going for a rush.
Oh my god. A rush indeed. Panics is already inside, and now Evil Clouds is on the half wall, but he's gonna fall immediately. Gory is able to clap it back, get a retrain. Finn, of course, is gonna be able to find one as well. This might not be working in the favor that Visionary had hoped. Numbers are dwindling very quickly, and still, Martyr's gonna go down as well. You're down to 1 in a matter of 30 seconds. A flawless win like it was nothing. Emergence coming out on top, taking a near flawless defense -1 round has been beautiful for both teams, but Emergence comes out on top by just being able to frag out a little bit better. Their coordination was on top, Connor.
That was a really well executed defense, because they've shown that they can defend against a regular defense as well as a rush. They understood exactly what was going, and as soon as the side switched, it was perfect. It was
Yeah.
just 5 rounds in a row, and just Visionary was unable to get anything going on the attacking side, so much so that Emergence is going to take 3 free points in their back pocket. Sure, this was their map choice, and it is going to be looking on the up and up for Visionary as we transition all the way over to Oregon. However, the way Kafe and Oregon are set up and structured, they can be sort of following a very similar vein of utility, 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 roam clear, roam clear, roam clear. A lot of people following the cookie cutter default strats, as well as on the attacking side, the default checklist of let's do XYZ so we can do 1, 2, 3.
Well, remember when Gory mentioned that he wanted to bring out some interesting strats? They wanted to mostly play defaults and then try maybe a thing or two that was really interesting. The really interesting things were that East Side Repel on Cafe and Bar, and they tried using Ying and Glass, and it failed horribly. Once they relegated themselves to those default plays, playing those 1v1s, especially on the defense, they really shined out there. And like you said, similar vein, the same exact line of work between Cafe and Oregon. I'm fully expecting that Emergence will take this 2-0 tonight because I think we're not going to see too much of a differentiation between the two different styles of these maps. And if Emergence keeps playing the exact same way they did on both attack and defense, we're going to have a really easy time against Visionary. But if Visionary kind of becomes a little bit less structured, I would say, and they take on these more individualistic 1v1s, Connor, I think there's a good chance we'll see overtime.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly, but we are going to send it to a quick intermission as we set up the next map. And that will be Oregon. It'll be about 5 minutes, so make sure to stay tuned as map 2 is underway. We will be back shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We saw an amazing comeback from Emergence on the defensive half of Kafe. They were down 4-2 in Visionary's favor, but then suddenly they brought things back almost flawlessly on the defense, bringing things to a 6-4. And here we are in Oregon now. My name is Keg, and of course, joined with me is the wonderful and beautiful C-Dabs. Hello, Connor. How are you?
You know, I'm doing a lot better. That game, it didn't disappoint. There were some really great moments, mainly the Son of Finn Clash clutch that will forever be burned into my memories, as somebody in chat once said. And it's a very, very true statement. That's a testament to how great of a play that 1v3 clutch with the cojones on that man to stick it, even though he was on physical drone. That's what I'm gonna call the downed buck, who was just staring at the clash, just diffusing and trying to ping him out for the pre-fire down below. But it wasn't in the heart of the cards for the ace. And maybe there will be some more fun moments like that as we go on to Oregon. Overall, you said it best. It was completely dominant on the defensive half for the side of Emergence. As soon as they transitioned onto their preferred side, it was over. There was nothing that Visionary could do. However, that was Emergence's map choice, and you don't want to really take away from the fact that having your map choice is a gigantic advantage. And now Visionary, it's their turn to have the map choice, and it will be Oregon, another very highly structured map that actually has been really interesting to watch considering the new recent Wamai and Jaeger nerfs. It really has changed the way that the map is being played, and it's not as defender sided as we once thought.
You're completely right, Connor. I think overall, when it comes to Oregon, we're still seeing a lot of growing pains come on through. We're seeing a lot of those strategies that we used to see way back in, a week ago in Shadow Legacy, where everyone would bring out Wamai and Jaeger as a 100% mainstay, and they would just completely projectile deny, like, let's say, all of Attic or all of Bunker down below. But now we're seeing those same exact plays come on through. Don't be mistaken, but it doesn't work as well anymore. So we have to see attacking teams completely readjust how they play. And while I would personally argue it's a little bit easier for the defenders to really readjust how they want to defend a site, it's these attackers that are struggling so much. And I'm curious to see how Visionary is going to do on the attack and how Emergence are going to do on the attack to really adapt themselves around, especially when Emergence banned out Cali for some reason in the last map.
Yeah, overall, the way that there was a major difference between Visionary and Emergence, and I think to a fundamental level, Emergence has adopted the new meta a lot better on their defenses, and that is a very good omen going forward on Oregon. We no longer have utility meta, gone but not forgotten, but still very much hated. I think personally the way that the meta is shifting is a lot more gun skill heavy, and it's a resurgence of the mute Mozzie combination. Intel is king once again because it's going to supplement your gunfights with information. It's going to allow you to be more prolific as a fragger, as an entry, as getting that map control. And that is something that Emergence brought on their defensive side quite a lot. We saw the mute, we saw the Mozzie, we saw the Vigil being played pretty much every single round, extending the site, denying all of the droning, so the Visionary players were going in blind. And that was right into the loving arms of a player in a rat corner, a player just swinging, knowing, hey, there's 10 seconds left. They've got to walk through this doorway. And on a map such as Oregon that we're going to see, that testament is especially true.
I'm just wondering if we're going to see a Cali ban again. Is that going to be a target ban for Cafe only, or is that going to be all the way through? And if that's all the way through, is it because of those two maps specifically, or is it because of Emergence just not wanting Visionary to play Cali? But we're going to see ban number one come on through, and Badger.
Cali.
Why?
You know, Emergence hates the Indian sniper. They don't like her. I guess Badger, it seems as if Badger is a Cali main because both times he's played, he said pain. He's booked a one-way trip to Spain minus the S. He's in, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that leaves a lot of options open. Ban number two, I'm guessing is gonna be Thatcher.
Thatcher, it's gonna be Thatcher.
Yeah, it's Thatcher.
If Visionary should have banned the Ying, because Ying is terrifying on Oregon, especially because of the hard breach gadget. you don't necessarily need a hard breacher on your basement attacks because pretty much the only thing you necessarily need to breach is that meeting hatch. That can be done by the hard breach gadget. And then I guess you can bring a Habana or an Ace or something to try to get that single wall over towards pillars as soon as you take control of that highly trafficked area. And then you can supplement your execute. But your execute's a lot easier when you just throw 3 Candelas and everybody is blind and can't shoot back because their screen is full white. It's not fun. It's not fun at all.
Keep in mind too, Goria was amazing on Yang last game. He was able to frag out with her so well. Her Candelas, I would say, didn't do as much, but he used that T95, like you mentioned, so effectively every single time we saw her. That final defender ban gonna be Wamai, not too surprising given that it's Oregon, but Jaeger's gonna be very less effective than he has been in the past. And debatably, the better projectile denier has been banned out completely. It's all about that intel now, Connor, like you mentioned. And if you're gonna go for laundry or kids, that's a
Oh
really scary
no.
prospect to see. And oh no, what's oh no for you?
Bottom left of the screen, Mira has made it
Ah,
through the ban
jeez.
phase, and I feel like she's going to be brought pretty much every single site of this entire map because if Mira is up and a team has Mira strats, it completely changes everything about the map. It completely changes the defensive structure as you're going to have that be your ace card. That is what your entire attack hinges upon, the control and the extension that you can have, cutting down certain areas with those Miras that make it so incredibly difficult for the attackers to push into. And then for the attackers, you might have to like outright not push somewhere that you would expect to be able to, such as blue bunker here. That's where I'm gonna assume that the first mirror window's going. E-box is getting fully reinforced off, indicative that Son of Finn's gonna place one of those giant rectangles on the wall and be able to swing the blue doorway as much as he so desires. And then you can also maybe have main stairs be supplemented in with another mirror window with also a shallow angle towards the extension of freezer. Really kind of having options on where you want to structure your defense depending on how the attackers are lining up. But for mainly that back blue push, it is going to be insanely impactful for the attackers to take control of meeting, which they do have a Maverick, so they can get that hatch open relatively easily, as well as the queen of the hatches herself, Habana, post rework.
Oh,
But Malusi's gone. Panic getting another good frag all the way on the other side of the map, just sprinting in as Ashes do.
yeah, you have to worry about Panic a lot. He's been really known to do that lately, and it's been working pretty effective. Jimmy Buckets, also known as Tricky, on the other side, kind of duo roam clearing together, and they've been an absolute power force. They're like a tractor mowing down the set of the grass of the enemy team, and they're able to find evil clouds. And depending on how this freezer push is going to go, they may very well find Son of Finn as well. He's hiding behind that mirror window, though, and move not too far behind either. There's only an ADS and a mirror window standing in the way of what Jimmy Buckets could bring out next. And be slow about this. This could be a really good delayed pressure from his side. If not, he might get gunned down right here, right now.
Yeah, he's walking the fine line and understanding that, hey, I have to make myself be felt, so I take the attention of the defenders while also not overextending where he will just die. And that's a very hard line to hold. It's similar to downstairs on Clubhouse pushing dirt for a basement attack. You need to have the defenders know you're there, but you're mainly there to cut rotations, as well as just provide that late flank factor that he might get some freebies in the back as soon as the rest of the visionary attackers start getting pressure in towards sight, such as what Panix is doing right here. He's actually able to down Ben. Ash charge to potentially finish him off, but he can't quite snake it through. Yes, he can. Moved answers back on a Martyr, but Badger's going to finish off moved. Refrag after refrag. 4v2 situation for the attackers of Visionary, who have come to life and are looking a lot stronger on this map of Oregon. Son of Finn just swinging back and forth. Can't quite get the headshot onto, I believe that was Jimmy Buckets, who's now walking around with just a little bit of HP, some breaching going on, some shenanigans both ways, as the execute's getting set up with that triple wall of pillars being opened up.
Everyone's struggling right now on Emergence's side. They tried to turtle themselves so much onto the site, but it turned out the horribly backfire. Panix is able to find Son of Finn. That's going to leave Goria last alive. Who said himself he's a world eater, and he's able to corrosively take away so many people with his grenades, but he's only going to use the SMG-11 to find a double kill. Not going to be enough for a triple, but Visionary's able to take the round after putting Goria to sleep for at least one round so far, and you gotta hand it to him. It looked like that reinforced wall was completely solid on our end, but he was still able to use that secondary gadget, that SMG-11, to his benefit, almost masterfully across the entire site to take down two of the bodies in what was originally a 4v1.
I really thought he was about to he was about to win.
Right?
After you hit 2 shots like that, you're on a heater, you're feeling yourself, you're ego checking, you're just swinging with the confidence of 1,000 suns,
He
but
could have
he
done it
couldn't.
too.
Oh yeah, if he got the kill, if he got that 3rd kill, it was
It
over.
was
He
over.
was just
Yeah.
gonna swing with the shotgun, and he was close enough on the diffuser. I feel like he had an idea that he was planting in that close cubby because of where he was, that sound cube being so close. You can build the mental map of sight and being like, hey, he's not planting over in that back corner by E-Box. He's planting in the other default on the shelf more close to Gold Hall, over kind of like near the freezer door. I feel like Goria knew he was there and then would have been able to close it out. But at the end of the day, couldn't quite get it done. Really unfortunate because I thought we were about to have another insane clutch, but it wasn't lining up as now Visionary start off strong on their attack and are looking like a completely different team.
On the bright side for Emergence, at least we're not going out of that round saying, oh yeah, there was physically no way Goria could win that. That shows how good of a player he is. He is really, really damn good, Connor. To say that on SMG-11 he had a really good chance to clutch that out
A
really says
4v1.
a lot. Yeah, a 4v1 post plant with an SMG-11. That really says how much we respect him and how good of a player he is.
Yeah, I think that shot onto the Maverick was actually so nice.
Yeah.
Threading the needle. Oh. But
Was
that's neither here nor there. That's the last round. Let's continue on to this one. We have a site change.
we do.
Visionary beat him so bad on that last round that Emergence is like,
Oh!
hey, let's not do that again, as Ben falls right into the loving arms of Jimmy Buckets, who picks up an absolute free kill due to some over-aggression. Icarus flying too close to the sun, the wings of Ben melted, and he'll be relegated to cam duty for the remainder of this round.
Oh, the painful story of Icarus, but unfortunately, Ben, playing Icarus twice in a row, gets gunned down immediately by once the roam clear, and this time by his own due diligence of just trying to run out and take someone down. I didn't like that run out. I thought that was a really
No.
poor idea on his end, especially what happened to him in the last round. You'd want to play it safe. Jimmy Buckets, though, is not in a good spot either. He's going to be at, what, 1 health now? I'm not really sure what caused him to lose so much health. I think that may have been an impact or something from below. But right now, we do see a lot of pressure coming from the master bedroom wall in the closet and from Trophy as well. Jimmy Buckets, even at that low of HP, does not want to relent. He is still looking to see if he can find any kind of rotation kills as the rest of his party moves on forwards towards Attic, which has no control at all.
Yeah, it's just one of those positions that they have the man advantage, but they don't have a whole lot of site control. And the way that Emergence has set up the bomb site is a lot heavy on area denial. You've got the smoke, you've got the goo mines, as well as those Malusi Banshees that make it very difficult to funnel in towards doorways, where there is a little bit of breaching going on, but mainly it's going to be the swings from moved, continuously putting pressure onto the players trying to drop off on the bottom side of the attic, as well as just snake their way into sight as soon as they destroy that aforementioned Malusi Banshee that will give them access in towards Trophy. Badger cooking up a nade, Eska style. Is it Master Chef?
wow.
Yes, it is. He gets a Michelin star as Evil Clouds goes bye-bye. Sonafan answers back onto Jimmy Buckets, finishing off the previously lit up player, but Marty will put him into a body bag and send him home as spoils of war. A Nitro Cell from down below, it won't quite connect. Abadu's planting it behind the guys of the smoke and setting up this post-plant position, but Goria's on the flank.
This is a really odd plant. I love it so much, but let's keep an eye on Goria for a second and see if he's able to clutch this one out either. There's a lot of bodies on the floor again. It's gonna be a 2v1. Goria's gonna find Badger, but is he able to redeem himself in the last round? He's gonna be looking around to see if he can find any stragglers, and there's gonna be one behind him. He's not able to find it though, and Visionary is gonna find Goria. Beautiful work again. Same story, different site, same conclusion. Goria's gonna fall again, and he really needs to start relying on his teammates to survive, either in these post-plant situations or at least living to the end of the round, because Goria can only take so much on his shoulders. A 4v1, like we said, is doable for him, but you can't rely on that every single time on the defense.
Yeah, the way Visionary is playing on the attack seems to be the kryptonite of the Superman of Goria, as well as mainly just destroying the rest of their team. Goria feels like he's Atlas right now, sitting on the bottom of the world, like literally carrying it in the entire brunt on his shoulders, trying to lift up his team, who are now 2-0 down on your Oregon defense. A map that, besides Theme Park, I would argue is the most defender-sided map in the game currently. Sure, the meta changes have hit Oregon the hardest, in my personal, but overall, I'm not going to say it's an attacker-sided map now. And Visionary, 2 rounds in, have already achieved their preferred half split. They getting a 4-2 is good. It's great on this map. It's exactly what you expect. But they have 4 more rounds, 4 more tries to get any extra rounds that they will take whole-handedly and so happily right off into the night and have a lot easier of a time on their defenses.
Now, we mentioned this before, Connor, but keep an eye on where Bunker is being placed. We see the rotation hull, we see the ADSs, and we see what I'm assuming is going to be Smoke playing on that Iron Shield. This is what we were commonly seeing on the Laundry defense in Shadow Legacy before the changes to Jaeger came on through. We haven't been seeing this as much, and we haven't really been seeing as much out of control on Kids defense either. And a lot of the times now, when we do see it in the last week of the patch coming out, we've been seeing players like that Smoke giving up this bunker control really quickly compared to last time. I'm wondering going into this round if Moved is going to keep on that position and rely on the SMG-11, or if at all, maybe we're not going to see a bunker push actually. Panix is already inside kitchen, going to be Ash breaching his way through into meeting hall, and they might be ignoring bunker completely. And so if they're able to pick up on that on Emergence's end, they can easily adapt themselves around, reinforce the area, and turtle themselves in a little bit deeper. That's going to require some intel that their team doesn't really have.
If Evil Clouds dies first again, I'm going to feel really bad for him because they're just sticking him on the deep roam, and he's been up the creek without a paddle, just completely isolated by the roam clear of Visionary, who have a very good idea. However, Abadu falls first, and that's a huge pick as Goria drops down the hard breacher. One of them, Badger, still left alive with the Maverick breaching torch, but a lot more difficult to get those walls opened, especially over towards Pillar, where you can be flanked at any given moment. And it's completely deadly as the wallbang from Evil Clouds as he gets a second as well. Badger going down, no more hard breach. Panic answers back onto Goria, but has the damage been done as the double kill for the Ash will silence the reign of terror of the Malusi upstairs? They don't have a traditional way into sight because the Maverick and the Habana of Abadu and Badger have been silenced.
Yeah, you are in a bad spot right now if you're Visionary. This is the first time you've been on the back foot this whole game, and you have to open up whenever you can. You're completely out of hard breach. You are completely out of intel minus your drones, and you have to rely on the ones already on the ground, except your own. Meanwhile, you still have your Mira, you still have your Maestro, you still have your Smoke. You are all set for the next 45 seconds if you can cover the proper angles. Son of Finn's playing really aggressive inside bunker right now, and this might be the smarter move in case Panix comes down blue and tries to rush Pillar. They won't expect the Mira at that corner. If they're going to drone it out properly, and they don't expect it, it's already going to be caught out, but Panix is able to get the better shot. Martyr's going to fall, and suddenly you've lost full control of the entire bunker area. There is a Maestro cam, and they're able to take some damage down onto the Nomad, but will that be enough? The answer is going to be no. Smoke grenades also already going down, and that's going to be the plant going to be denied for a few more seconds. He still has a few more grenades. Actually, no, I stand corrected. He has no more grenades to rely on, but that diffuser has not gone down yet. Either you push now, try to take down the Smoke, not able to. That's going to be Move taking down Panix, but no, the double kill straight away into the wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Ben's able to find Martyr, and Emergence saves the day on the defense. That was a really close round, and honestly, Connor, it didn't need to be that close for Emergence. Had Son of Finn at least taken down Panix that early on when they went down Pillar, that could have been a really clean round for them. But instead, things got muddled at the very end, and the defuse could not possibly go down.
Yeah, the remaining 2 players after Son of Finn was playing a little bit too over aggressive. It was Ben with the level head that just kind of sat there and was like, okay, my teammates are swinging everything. I need to be the one not swinging, or else we could very much lose this round. It is only a 1-man advantage, which can be wiped away in the blink of an eye, such as the man advantage was in the side of Visionary's attack until until Evil Clouds attacked, much like the Fire Nation, where he was able to take out 2 players at the top of T2 on Big Tower, going absolutely huge, finally getting picks on his roam. And I wonder if that's the correlation you can cause 8 on to the round win for Emergence. I know correlation doesn't equal causation, but if we're talking statistics, 100% of the rounds that Evil Clouds has gotten a kill in, they have won.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Emergence can string together 2 rounds in a row. You can't call that last round a fluke. You really can't for Emergence. But here's the thing. Last time we saw Visionary push through kids, it was really successful. They got full control of Attic, they got full control of Trophy, and they had control of Master. That's essentially a 3-pronged push. Now, we are seeing Son of Finn and Moved, who was last on the Smoke and Laundry. They were able to really go back to these more basic strats that we've been seeing since the new Oregon came out. And it was somewhat effective. They lost that last round, but it had nothing to do with the bunker play. And a lot of what that happened last round on kids was lost due to having Attic control lost. Now, having a little bit of out of control, a little bit more than not at all, could be beneficial, but it's really down to Evil Clouds to make or break this round.
Yeah, Attic control is exponentially more difficult to maintain since the new patch because the attackers have enough utility to just throw stuff down range and break your shield, and then you're swinging blind with where attackers know that you're going to swing. They're just going to hold the angle and wait. It's a staring contest. But so far, Panic inside of Trophy Door is already in a very, very advanced
That
position.
rhyme.
Yeah, it did. You know, I feel like a poet. And I didn't even know it. I'm glad you're getting kicks out of this, Max.
Oh, that was funny. But you know what's not funny? Having your Iron Shields go away. Already we see full control of Attic in the favor of Visionary. They don't realize that they have full control, but other than Goria playing down below, and they have to realize that there could be someone in meeting because A, it's probably not droned down up until now, and also that hatch is open. I'm not sure if they know if anyone's down there, but Evil Clouds is able to take down Martyr, and that's a really good start. The flank watch is dead, and we saw Goria. We saw so many different people from before try to go for a flank watch on one of the attackers, but Badger's able to find Goria instead. Disregard what we were going to say because the flank is essentially dead at this point. Ben takes a lot of damage as well, and it's going to be up to the rest of the attackers to split themselves up and well, take the advice that we kind of mentioned before in Kafe and play these individual 1v1s.
Yeah, a 4v4 situation is pretty even on both sides, but look at the operators that are still left on the side of Emergence's defense. You've got 2 Nitro Cells, 2 sets of impacts, plus those Maestro Cams, as well as all 3 Toxic Babe canisters that Son of Finn is going to start throwing out in just a couple of seconds if he can stay safe. For the side of Visionary's attack, it doesn't look necessarily that good. Sure, Ben is not on that much HP, as he's going to actually swing out, and he can't quite get it done. The Ash winning, that's Panics for the second kill of his round onto Ben. He's swinging the pendulum back into the man count advantage. His move is also going to be able to take out Badger. No more repelling player, evening it up at 3-3 with only 20 seconds left to go. But Abadu has made his way inside of sight, supplemented with the crossfire angle employed by the Ash of Panic, but Son of Finn says no. He slams the door on that, but it's still a post-plant situation. Abadu and Jimmy versus the world. Move taking a lot of damage as he's flanking up White Stairs, finished off by the Zovias. Abadu is also going to be able to take out Son of Finn as they're defending the Alamo. Evil Clouds just pre-firing every angle, can't quite land the shots as it's the Deagle out in hand, the regular pistol, trying to finish off with the impacts of the Lifeline launcher, but it's Abadu with the AK-12 for the final swing and the decisive blow as the post-plant positions for Visionary is another wonderfully executed attack that makes 3 on the side of Visionary's half.
Definitely a much closer attack than we saw last time. Yeah, definitely a lot closer of a round for both sides than we saw last time on kids, but it still went in the favor of Visionary. We saw Abadu plant in the same exact spot on Trophy. We did see a little bit more aggression from, I believe that was going to be, what was it, Evil Clouds last time, I believe? Maybe it was Ben on the smoke. But regardless, we did see that smoke play more aggressive. They were shot down immediately by Panics, but the attempt was still there. Now, here's the thing though, Connor. The aggressive passion is really good, but you still lost Goria early on. There was no chance of a flank. There was no roam presence that worked out that effectively. You had to rely on that turtle again on Emergence's side, and we've seen once, and we've seen it twice now on the kid site. it did not work out the way they had hoped. And I'm not sure what they can do differently going into that next time they go on kids, if they even do. But I think a change of pace, like going to kids, I'm sorry, not on kitchen, is a much better way of going.
Yeah, we're seeing the tertiary bomb site come out finally for Emergence. It is just the change in scenery that they needed because they've struggled on their secondary bomb site of the top floor. Visionary just looks so strong and prolific in attacking it. And there's also been a couple of qualms back and forth on defending basement. So if 1 and 2 fail, you have to go to 3. And that's what we're going to see as the tertiary bomb site of kitchen and dining will be on display. Once again, Son of Finn bringing the Mira. That's going to supplement a lot of extension in towards bathroom. But that only works if there's a small tower take in the cards for Visionary's attack. If they decide to push right into the belly of the beast and just try to break down the utility that Son of Finn and the rest of the team on the Emergence defense are bringing over towards that side, it's fine and dandy. Your attack is strong. However, if they go another way, such as vertically or over on the backside of meeting, then all your efforts were for naught.
It really comes down to how this initial push is going to go down. The mirror window is going to be in bathroom. It's facing towards the small tower, but no one's able to find any shots yet. In fact, only the drones have been able to spot out any of the defenders. Ben on the roam right now is going to be looking to see if he can find anyone right off the rip. But the Warden on Goria is going to be the most interesting part of this entire round. He's going to be upstairs. He's looking around to see who he can find in the beginning, but nobody's able to connect with one another. Connor, this is going to be a very decisive round, I think, for the entire matchup because this is one of the most expansive horizontal roams we've seen from Emergence on their defense, and it's also one of the last rounds of Emergence's defense as well.
Yeah, there's some vertical pressure coming out as a Nitro Cell nearly takes out the Maverick up above. But it's going to be Martyr going absolutely huge. 2 players for the price of none so far on the top, or pardon me, the bottom white rotation cut from the Nomad. Ben is DB&O. He's just crawling around, trying to move to safety right into the loving arms of the Maestro of Evil Clouds, who will do the field medic duty, the best teammate ability, as Martyr gets a triple kill, going for 4! The quad kill into the favor of the Maestro, the Nomad. The Maestro was last alive as Evil Clouds gets one onto Badger, but wholly impactless as the refrag from Panic will continue. The Pain Train and Visionary are about to get potentially a 4-2 attacking half on Oregon.
This has been really solid for Visionary so far. We cannot discount them, but we've also seen this same exact scoreline before, or really damn close. But that was when Emergence was on the attack. This time around, Visionary already on the attack. It's not looking good for Emergence's defense. Visionary's just been able to rush onto the site for the most part and get these kills without really expending too much utility. There's been very few utility kills. We have seen some frag kills come on out, sure. But Connor, for the most part, this has just been superior positioning and finding out exactly where Emergence has laid themselves and getting the drop on them.
Yeah, the way Visionary are looking on these attacks is it's just flawless. Their attacks are perfect. Like, there's nothing I can complain about. If I'm going to complain about anything, it's Emergence's defense and their lack of adjustments because they've gone to these bomb sites before and they should know exactly what Visionaries bring to the table. It's not like they're attacking any differently as they do repeat sites. They're just doing the same thing over and over again. And it's working because they understand the map more. They're looking so much more confident in this home field advantage of their map choice is looking to be absolutely massive. Much more so than we saw in Kafe. Sure, Emergence went flawless on their defenses, but that's kind of expected on a defensive-sided map. They still got the 4-2 split on their attack, expected. So, not necessarily anything out of the ordinary, but this is a once-in-a-blue moon kind of thing for Visionaries' attacks. They're making a defensive-sided map look attacker-sided, already guaranteeing a 4-2 split with the potential of a 5-1 coming up if they're successful on this next attack.
I'm really glad that you mentioned this is expected for Emergence to win because so far, this is the only round they've been able to win in the entire map. They won it barely by a 2v2, well, first a 3v2 in Emergence's favor, then it went down to a 2v2 and nearly a 1v1. But it was the Maestro at the end of the day that secured the win by a swing in from a lack of utility to really be expended on Visionary's side. Now we're seeing a much more slower to be expected round and a much more decisive one. Goria's still going to be on that smoke, holding down on the shield, but last time we saw him moved in this smoke position instead. I think this is really smart because now you have your star player, your top fragger, being one of the hard supports to make sure this goes completely in your line. And with Jimmy Buckets now attacking on Bunker Connor, if we see this Goria versus anybody matchup and it goes against them, this will be 5-1 in Visionary's favor.
Yeah, pretty much kill Goria, win round. Sit back, profit, stonks. Pretty easy equation, as we said earlier on. And him being on the smoke is in a precarious extended position where he's not safe by any stretch of the imagination. He's feeling so much pressure already, but so is moved inside of pillars. Another very integral part of the defense, sort of the backbone, that kind of piano, if you want to draw the similarities over on Kafe. As soon as you lose this map control, that's where the attackers start to get roots. They start to cut off rotations and start constricting themselves around site until ultimately you're suffocated and can't do anything. Overmoved is going to be the first one to get the shots. He's going to drop off Panic as the first Toxic Babe canister of Goria will be expended.
Huge.
And that is huge. That's a giant pick. Panic has been on a heater so far on the Ashe, continuously getting that crucial element of surprise and aggression. But now Goria is going to be flipping the script. He's going to take out Jimmy Buckets, moved with a second kill, gets out Martyr, but the refrag onto Goria will also be sort of negated by the amazing move, who will now be refragged out. But it's a 1v3 situation for Abadu, who has to be a hero. He has to be the clutch minister like Zipix in order to get this 5-1 split.
This is a really sucky situation for Abadu right now. He could either push on in through electrical and die, or rotate around in the bunker, go through the rotate hole, and die. Goria's dead. Panix is dead. Everybody's dead. That really has fragged out the most out of these games. Now, here's the thing, though. You have the diffuser in hand. You don't need your hard reach. You have one flash grenade. Safe 4's been expended, and that won't kill him either. As he's going to push it anyways and still die. He had options, but he decided not to go through any of them. Forgo everything, push through electrical, and still die. He had options, Connor, but we didn't see any of them come through, and that's going to secure, at the very least, that 4-2 split that you predicted.
But it's not the expected 4-2 split you would see. It's the 4-2 split for the attackers. Unless
Yeah.
Oregon all of a sudden we're in the Twilight Zone and it's flipped into the upside down. Yeah, it's not an attacker-sided map.
But the main argument you could give that it could be attacker-sided now is the lack of utility burn seen from the Wamai and the Jaeger. But we haven't really seen much utility used on the attack. That is the big paradox, I think, of this season. A lot of people were expecting the 20-second meta to die here because of Jaeger being nerfed, Wamai still commonly banned, and both of them no longer really working in tandem. But the big paradox is that we still see the same exact strats for the most part, if not slightly altered, but it's heavily more in the attacker's favor, but not through the use of utility. It's more or less the lack of utility that the defenders have grown used to. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's kind of... It's
That's
hard
so
to
weird.
adjust when you've been accustomed to the way a map being played, and all of a sudden it's completely flipped on its head, and you can no
Holy
longer
moly.
do what you're supposed to do. Because at the end of the day, pillars in blue weren't the hardest thing in the world to hold, and now they're pretty difficult. That map control that you expect to have going towards the execute, and you expect the attackers to at least take a lot more time to take, that's going into the favor of the attackers. It really does just throw off the defensive timing, and such as when to fall off, when to not, when to swing, when to kind of pressure. And that could be a reason that we're seeing a potentially attacker-sided Oregon, or it's just a visionary-sided Oregon. I haven't quite made up my mind yet.
Well, you gotta keep in mind too, this is Visionary's map pick. It does make sense even on the attack, but then again, if you lose this on as Visionary, you don't want to lose your map pick. That is just as bad, if not worse, than, well, losing a map. Because not only that, you still play into the advantage of Emergence, who did win their map pick. So Visionary has a lot to live up to right now, and this is a best of 2, sure, so there is no decider map after this. But all in all, that's still not a good position to be in. Martyr's gonna be really hotly pressured. There's a two-way split right now. If he rotates out, he's dead. If he continues to stay in armory, well, he's also dead. And even from below, he's dead. But it's going to be Ben overall to find that frag. It's going to be the Jaeger dead. And things are slowly dwindling away for Visionary as we see the attacker come back. That's going to be Panic's gone too, and you've lost one of your top frags. Move's going to be DVNO. And what's going to happen here? Well, it doesn't matter if you're
What?
behind an Iron Shield. Evo Clouds, I think,
Oh.
was able to find Badger. That was a crazy kill, and that was a huge one as well. Only now a 1v5, a near flawless round's going to turn into a 1v4. It's going to be Jimmy Buckets, though, to find Evil Clouds. The Mute's the last one alive, and this is not the position you want to be in with just an SMG-11, which is funny enough because we said the opposite for Goria. But is he able to make the same thing work? Well, the answer might be yes.
Well, he gets 1 TK, as he's also going to get
Oh.
another headshot here, but Goria, the World Eater. I don't know another nickname for him. I feel like it's being overused, but that's what he is going to just shoot somebody straight in the back, pre-firing away with 62, picking up, I believe, his 3rd kill of the round. And finally,
Oh, man.
Emergence have a little bit of life. They looked good on their attack. Overall, I think I didn't like the Visionary extension. It had a massive flaw with the pinch on the highway window that was able to be opened up by the castle. The castle barricade was opened up by the Maverick torch, and then after that happened, there was nothing Panic could do. He was so uncomfortable. He was in such a bad spot. He had to swing or be swung, and when he swung, he walked into a crossfire. He got shot from 50 million different directions, cut into 100 million different pieces, and then that allowed the attackers to just continue building momentum as they went for that sort of master armory side push, supplemented with a little bit of extra pressure coming in, sprinkled on of the twitch of Evil Clouds from double window. I thought the castle died behind the shield from the ace and master.
I thought so
That's
too.
why I was so confused, but he actually just got shot through the openings of a well-placed shot from the F2 wielding Frenchie that Evil Clouds is bringing to the battlefield. And overall, a really great attack from Emergence, just enough of a variance from what you would expect to see with, oh my gosh, let's read off the script. They're gonna Maverick open attic wall. They're going to soft breach it. All of a sudden, the Maverick is gonna go onto the other side and help open up the master wall while the rest of the people are gonna throw flashbangs down attic hallway, burn the ADSs and the Wamais, break the shield, try to push down that way, get choked out by smoke canisters. I just knocked over 2 cans while I was doing that because I was doing a very mundane motion with my arms. But yeah, we didn't see that, and it was kind of refreshing. End of story.
Well, remember too, Connor, is that last map we saw Emergence really take advantage of these 1v1s, especially on the attack. But there, it didn't really work well for them. Visionary was able to clump themselves together quite a bit, and they were able to get those refrags, if not get the first kill really quickly and effectively. Here, it's kind of a different story where they can take advantage of how structured a team like Visionary can be. And really, we have Goria on Emergence's side that is a huge stranglehold of whether or not the team will do well. But for Visionary, it's Panics. And when he goes down so quickly, that's a big yikes situation. That or Martyr. So for me, especially on Laundry, I'm really wondering how this is going to go down because we do see a bit of a 3-way push where we do have 1 inside a bunker. That's going to be the sledge, 2 going down pillars, and maybe even a freezer push if the last 2 quadrants decide to push that way. It's a tight and tough situation to be in right now as an attacker, but it's not an impossible one by any means. I want to know what the mirror is going to do. What is Abadu going to do in this position? Because either they get kills or they're going to get flushed out.
Yeah, I mean, Abadu could just be removed by doing something really easy called hard breaching the hatch that he is sitting below. But they're going to just elect to dump a lot of utility forward, as I think it actually might have gotten Kate juggled.
It is. Well, keep in mind, too, is that there is no Lance, there's no Kali, and there's no Thatcher. You can't get rid of that. So
no,
right
it got
now,
tricked. It was getting breached.
that's even
and
worse.
Yeah. And now it's going to get mute tricked. Ben is able to take out Martyr. The first kill still going into the hands of the Emergence attack, as no more Martyr to juggle off with those Kaid Electro Claws. But Panic he's underneath. He's in Harry Potter. And will he get points for Gryffindor? No, he wasn't. Slytherin wins this one out as Move will pick up a free frag. Ben also dropping in and getting a triple kill as the sledge goes absolutely nuclear. Badger and Jimmy Buckets answer back. Son of Finn is down but not out. So essentially, well, now a 3v1 situation. but 40 seconds left on the clock. A Nitro Cell attempted out here, but a little bit too premature as the three-pronged attack will continue. Jimmy Buckets needs to pick one avenue to come through as the smoke canisters of the attacking variety will go in. A headshot onto Evil Clouds says no more Twitch, no more F2 to worry about because that's a totally balanced weapon. As the triple kill comes through, he drops down the diffuser. He gets tagged through the smoke, but has the damage been done? Has he disrupted this attack enough? Because he got to sit back and play passive. There's only 11 seconds left on the clock. He's got shotgun in hand. He's swinging out. He doesn't quite hit that one, but he can just sit and hide. Gloria has to plant sooner rather than later. He doesn't have to be inside of sight. Jimmy Buckets, the game of cat and mouse, the brain on this man will get a free round for Visionary that he had no right winning.
I was fully expecting Visionary to lose that round and say, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids, but maybe they're not. They're for adults and they're for players of this game because they made every single one of them work out so effectively. Here's the thing, though. We saw Jimmy Buckets, we saw Trick play the same exact spot on Kafe for the most part, holding the shotgun and able to swing and use it so effectively. It's not about the weapon you wield sometimes, it's about him being able to know when to use it and him not using it at all, not contesting it at all, and only using the SMG-11 to dwindle the numbers to being even. It was beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a clutch situation isn't what you want to be in. But you know, Jimmy Buckets made it his own. I always make the joke that Oregon is like the hometown of the Brits, even though it's inside of the USA. There's something about the way the map is structured that gives superpowers to anybody that has an SMG-11 and shotgun. Just if you play mute or you play smoke, you're gonna hit double digits on this map. It doesn't matter if you're not good with the SMG-11. It just, for some reason, it doesn't have recoil on this map. It's you've got the stat boosts on that secondary, as well as the shotgun feels like it hits so much harder for some reason. But hey, perfect clutch coming out of Jimmy Buckets. Well played. Just knew when to push, knew when to fell back, killed away the time, and outbrained the World Eater.
You know what's crazy too about that clutch? He denied himself the ace. He was on a 4K already, and that could have been the ace for him. But he knew he was playing for the team rather than for himself, and they won the round because of it. That was ballsy of him, and I loved seeing that. And I really hope we can see more of that coming from Visionary too, because that was a sacrificial play, I guess, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it was really well played. He took a round over his own stats. That's what good team players do. But for the side of Visionary, they're employing a defense that we've already seen fail miserably, and it's a little bit of a repeat scenario. I'm not going to say the French style word because I say it too much. But burning away utility inside of Attic will be Badger falling down, ironically inside of the main lobby of Trophy-ish, that kind of area. But Martyr's feeling the heat. He knows that there's players on Windows. Jimmy Buck is taking a lot of damage, but answering back in due time with a swing onto Ben. But it's going to be the sledge to get a little bit more going through. His move also falls at the hand of Martyr. Finished off Ben is Jimmy Buckets.
Now, Martyr's played in Armory last time before, and he tried to rotate out and was murdered by where Goria exactly is. All the chess pieces have rotated around a little bit, but that doesn't ignore the fact that the queen is still exactly where they were to get that checkmate. But instead, no, Martyr's going to rotate around effectively this time. He's able to go through the garage hatch, and Abadu's able to find Ben instead. That's going to force Goria to move off their position prior and try to hunt down this Jaeger, who moved away. Martyr's going to find himself back on site. He's going to go through the white stairs and get back to safety. Goria going to kind of be in the back of his tracks, be looking through garage, and maybe Panics could be in a position to find him instead. This is a very awkward attack overall, Connor, because there's no real clear definition that I see of how they want to go through with this. They've already lost Ben, they've lost Moved, and it's not going to be easy regardless how this goes.
Yeah, and you've got an Ella with a shotgun on main stairs that you have no idea she's there. And that's one of those guns that if you get snuck up upon, all three of your players can be just decimated at a moment's notice. Goria seems to want to push down white, has an inkling that there's a player up there. That is Martyr, who has dropped and rotated around, holding a shallow cross on towards that. But as I mentioned earlier, Panic is able to take out Finn, the other Polish operator on the other side of the map, is able to jump straight in and do a hit and run onto the Jaeger, evening up the man count. However, Evil Clouds Clouds. He's able to down Abadu. It's all up to the lonesome Panic R6 to try to stop this defusal process and clutch out of the Visionary, or pardon me, the Emergence attackers. It's a job easier said than done. Sure, it's a 2v1, not the worst case scenario. However, he has a shotgun and a regular pistol. He has to get up close and personal, and one of these players has already escaped outside of the window, but it's the one inside of Goria to get the headshot right onto her sister. Little Polish on Polish action as Emergence is able to take the round.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but overall, straight through the brain, that was a really solid round from Emergence as well. We did talk about how the attack was going to be really rough, but they were able to adapt themselves by having such a huge disadvantage. If not player-wise, they were exactly the same, I believe, but overall, in terms of positioning, they were just about out of luck. But they knew the map well enough to pivot around big window, go in for the plant and kids as well, and hold those angles super effectively. That was a really good adaptation that we saw from Emergence, and we've been seeing a lot of that from them as well, even on Kafe. But there's still a small lead coming out from Visionary. They haven't had the best time on the defense so far, and it's kind of a reversal at times of what we saw on that previous map as well. But right now, having the castle in play, just trying to barricade and slow down the push from Emergence that they're really fast about doing, could be their ticket to getting to that match point.
Yeah, so far, it is just following the narrative of the realization I'm having is this just might be attacker side in Oregon. It pains me to say it, but the way that the attackers are able to get map control for relatively free is something that the defenders haven't quite cracked yet. The areas that you once thought were really easy to defend, all of a sudden, where all of your strats hinge upon holding X or holding Y, suddenly X and Y become so much more difficult to hold, and now your strats are all busted, and you have to go through an entire process where the attackers can still attack the same way that they have the muscle memory on. And that's what we've seen so far from both of these teams. Emergence is cracking away at a deficit that they had on their defensive side of Oregon. They had a 4-2 split on their defense for the attackers. Typically, ask me 2 weeks ago, you say, it's done and dusted, it's game over. But it's no longer. It's a very close game, but a trade back and forth. Abadu will stop the initial pressure of Goria, who found himself right outside of sight a little bit quicker than expected. And now the most prolific fragger on the side of Emergence will be sidelined for the remainder of this round. And it's up to the rest of his team to pick up the ashes that he left behind.
Very peculiar indeed. We're going to see already Goria to go down first. That's going to be a huge loss for Emergence. Anything's possible right now, I would say, Connor, because you lost Gloria, you've lost down on your top fragger pretty much consistently through the season, but still moved in Evil Clouds and Ben and even Son of Finn on the support as well. They've been doing their job super effectively. And my main concern right now would be Panics upstairs and, of course, Martyr not too far behind as well. If they can't get that upper clear, especially, with Panics going to be upstairs as well, being aided by Jimmy Buckets, you're in for a hell of a time trying to get into close to any of these bomb sites, and they're suffering quite a bit. The trade comes through, Move's able to find Panic, sure, but Move's going to go DV&O. He can't use his legs anymore. But that's still going to have a lot of permission for the defenders to just turtle on the site. They might have to sacrifice Move. If you get him up, that's fabulous, but they're not able to secure him in time before before Evil Clouds is able to come in on time. But that's okay. They are able to get him instead, and that's going to bring them back to a positive advantage. My main concern, though, Connor, going into the final minute, is that sure, you have the vertical advantage now. Never mind, you have the man advantage too, even more so. But are they able to get past Badger and Jimmy Buckets, especially with him slowly crawling his way up White Stairs?
He's slinking in the shadows, and he's trying to flank these two remaining attackers that are upstairs. But it's going to be the strike from Evil Clouds as he opens his sixth eye and knows exactly what's happening. As now a flashbang will come through. He's going to try to swing on the diffuser, and it's actually going to be one. It's going to be nearly two, but it's just everybody's getting delivered. He whips out the shotgun. Get it done.
No, not going to happen today, but that was one hell of an ending there. Badger coming super close to clutching it out. He whipped out the super short. He was able to get a double kill. Sure, one was DB&O, but DB&O, my gosh, indeed, Connor, because that was super close to becoming one of the best clutches we've ever seen in SCS. But it was just a hair short of finalizing one on the other side of that wall, and now things are an even 5v5. It has been attacker sided for both of these teams. And Gloria and Paddocks are going neck and neck with each other. The only difference being a matter of assists between the two. It's anybody's game right now, and whoever wins this next round will bring it to overtime, possibly, or at least match point. And the other team has to be put on the back heel. They have to go for the overtime point, and the games will continue. If not, this could be a 7-5.
Man, I wish he won that. I wish
Yeah.
Badger won that because I was so ready to make a Postmates French food joke because the Twitch just delivered himself to the castle. But ultimately that whiff on the sledge was the undoing. He arguably should have won that because Emergence kind of threw the Twitch of Evil Clouds. That was not the play. You don't drop onto him. Sure, you drop the diffuser off, but you have to be able to refrag from vertical angles as opposed to evening the playing field and giving up the high ground,
I
as
mean,
some Star Wars players would,
I,
would say.
I can kind of understand where they were coming from dropping down below. His ump ran out of ammo, and he couldn't get the kill. And I believe it was what Sledge on the other side of that wall. But whipping out the super shorty and being blasted that close of range, that put me into a shock. I wasn't expecting that, and I'm assuming even then, just so much going on all at once. I'm sure the comms were crazy too. That was a 50-50 shot for anybody.
Yeah. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Emergent still won the round. That's all that matters. We can say all we want, like, oh, they didn't deserve it. Oh, they threw. They still won the round, and you can't take that away from them, as they have taken away the lead of the Visionary defense. It's now 5-5, and if the script has already been settled, if this narrative have been woven, we see attacker-sided Oregon potentially going in towards overtime. There's not really any sides. If everybody just keeps on winning their defense attacks, it's going to be who can actually break ground on the defensive side, which arguably should be a lot easier on Oregon. But the way these two teams playing and the way that the map has changed so drastically is not looking good. However, Panic on the flank is looking quite good. He's actually going to be able to take out the Maverick of Ben, and that's a massive pick. No longer can you open up that E-Box hatch, and Abadu just breathed a gigantic sigh of relief that his hatch can't be opened. He is safe inside of E-Box. He is safe with those mirror windows and can just kind of sit back, chill, and deny all of the pressure and all of the attackers from entering Blue Bunker.
We have seen Laundry probably become the most hotly contested site between these two teams on both sides so far. And with it being even 4v4, I mean, nothing's really changed going into the final minute or so of this round. Moved is able to find Martyr. That's going to be another one gone, but it's only your Kaid. I'd be more worried about Jimmy Bucket still on the Mew, who was able to clutch this out fantastically last time. But Panic, of course, going to be playing a little bit more aggressive than he probably should be, holding near pillar, trying to find the body of one, not able to secure the headshot on the move at all. I'm not sure what's going on there. He's hitting every pixel except the one he needs. But Abadu's in a bad spot too. That's gonna be the mirror window opening up and down from above on the stairs. It's gonna be moved finding him, and Abadu is gonna go down. But that's not gonna stop Panic. He's still trying to find that magic pixel, and he's gonna give up though and move on back. Suddenly now you're on the back foot. You have 3 of your defenders left alive on Visionary's side. This is their do or die moment for both teams. Moved on a triple kill right now. Is able to find Panics. That's your top fragger on the defense. Jimmy Buckets in Badger, last alive now, trying to make something almost out of nothing try to work, but neither of them are able to find any of the shots. 14 seconds turns into a 1v4. Jimmy Bucks needs to clutch it out yet again. He doesn't have the same magic as last time. Gloria this time takes it over, gets a double kill at the end, and that's going to be match point for Emergence. A starking comeback from where they were early on against Visionary on Oregon, now in their favor yet again. But now Connor, what is Visionary gonna do? They've run out of steam. They've been trying so hard, but it's these crazy angles now that are stuffing them out time and time again. They have to find overtime, or they're gonna be staying at the bottom of the bracket.
Yeah, this is just Moved on a heater. Moved is playing amazing, acting as an entry frag on the Nomad. He's not only completely decimating the roam and not allowing the flanks to occur. Sure, Martyr was able to kill the Maverick, but it didn't matter when you can just shoot the Mira as soon as you take the pillar stairs. Even though the Jaeger was just kind of kind of peeking back and forth and like trying his very best to hold it off. He ultimately wasn't able to defend the blind side of Abadu, where he was subsequently slammed down to the ground, and then you lost all of your pressure inside of blue. The crossfire was established inside of pillars from the main stairs as well as the door. That required Panic to fall back. And then after that, it was shooting fish inside a barrel. Goria stepped up as he has been very, very commonly, and was able to just blast on in with his patented Sophia, massacred everybody, and took another round for Emergence, as well as the lead, a situation that they have not been in this entire map.
That's right. Things are even, or were even, up until now. It's been a bit of a back and forth. Martyr, again, playing an Armory. He's going to be rotating out before the round, or as the round barely starts. I've always been concerned about Martyr's placement inside Armory. He's been contested there every single time we've seen him on the defense. The first time he was killed in a three-way pinch. The second time he was able to rotate, and that forced Goria to rotate down to Garage and try to find him. But this time around, he's holding that same angle again. They're no dummies on Emergence. They know exactly where he's at, and they're already holding that angle. But Martyr wants to get that early kill. He wants to boost those stats a little bit, and that makes me very concerned with this defense.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to nade him out. They know that that rotate hole can be a death hole. It can be an avenue for a grenade to snake on in. But Martyr is just as wise. He's going to sit all the way in the tuck here. But Son of Finn from down below was actually able to take him out. That hatch is opened and you were exposed to it. And now all of that utility, all of those reinforcements, all of those resources, every single bit of attention that has been allocated over towards that side of the map is now taken by the attackers with relative ease. It only took 1 single minute to break that down, and you've lost half of the top floor, as now it's going to be the angles opened up. A Badger actually finally shoots back. Ben nearly gets him. A Panic answers onto Evil Clouds as well. An attempted Nitro will go through, but Goria drops off the mute of Jimmy Buckets. And now it's a 3v3.
It is a 3v3. That thing up on the top, that score liner is wrong. It's a 3v3, now down to a 3v2. Ben's able to find Panics, and it's down to your final 2 supporters. You have the UMP, you have Badger once again. He's been able to make magic work once before, but this is a different site, and the circumstances, I hate to break it to you, are kind of different this time around. There's a lot more at stake here. But with that being said and all done, the diffuser is still very far away from the site. Moved is trying to make his way towards the white stairs, Connor. If he's able to get up there successfully, this could be the end of Badger.
Yeah, he's sitting behind a shield, but it would more likely be Abadu feeling the pressure first, as flash grenades will try to strip him of his vision, but he wants to strip the lives of the remaining Emergence attackers. The Son of Finn takes a good amount of damage on the cross, but manages to find his way into a safe corner where he will begin the counter defusal process. However, Badger's just sneaking in. He tries to pre-fire the smoke, but that's not where the ace is. He's stuck in another corner move, DBNO. It's a 2v2 situation, as now the smoke canister clears and Goria is able to take out Badger. It's all Abadu. He's up in a 1v2 essentially. The game riding on his clutch. Has the SMG-11 and a couple of Toxic Babe canisters, but he's going to walk right past the ace. Son of Finn picks up a freebie. Sneaky. And Emergence take the round. A massive comeback in a 2-0 series as they drop down Visionary.
Oh man, overall a great comeback again from Emergence. It could have been Visionary's map. It really could have been, but their defense just faltered a little too much. You know, it's one of those games where there's no definitive point of failure for either team to really show why rounds were lost. But overall, it was really cool to see both these teams make those adjustments. And as we keep going in the season, it's becoming easier and easier for teams to do that, Connor. But when it comes down to it, Visionary, I really think they just missed out on a lot of those gunfights.
Yeah, it was just attacker-sided Oregon, and that makes my brain hurt. That's why I've said it so many times. But a 4-2 split for the attackers, and then a 5-1 split for the attackers. That's just crazy to me. And I do think that we are going to have an interview, as I'm going to check over here.
I believe
we have Clouds. We have Evil Clouds, the hard support from Emergence, as we get to take a little bit of a sneak peek behind the scenes. We get to see what was happening inside those comms, a little bit of a justification towards our speculation of what was happening. Max, I'm going to let you take that away because you're a little bit of a better interviewer than me. And as soon as we're all lined up and ready, we'll transition over that scene. And yes, welcome Evil Clouds. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you guys?
We're doing pretty good.
well. Max, take it away.
You got it. So I think the big question on everyone's mind is that Neon Dawn, the new operation, came out last week. Jaeger got nerfed to the ground, or at least to an extent readjusted a little bit, and the Wamai has been almost 100% banned across the board. But things haven't really changed with the defensive strategy, but things are becoming a lot more attacker-sided. As a competitive player, how do you feel about these new changes going through? Has things drastically changed with your strats, with your scrims?
Um, I mean, not really, because I feel like our playstyle was kind of already built how this was gonna change. So I mean, it's just making us more efficient. Like back on the old season, we were horrendous at burning things and whatnot. So we figured like now with the Jaeger only having one, and we tend to always ban Wamai, it's just helping us clear things better. Something that was our biggest struggle, which is now one of our most dominant things that we're becoming good at. So that's good. Overall, I love the changes personally. It's definitely not making it Ash and Zofia burn everything, get rid of shields, and push in. So
Absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, the new season has been a huge adjustment for everybody, but it's also been a huge adjustment for the game as well, meta-wise. And I think it's really cool to see you guys adapt around that. But when it comes to a lot of the bans, too, we saw some interesting choices being brought out from both sides. Namely, the one that really stuck out to us is the Cali ban. I want you to walk us through the Cali ban and how you guys reacted to that overall, and what the process was.
So that was actually my call. We saw. Oh, I bought reviewed them. I saw that they're really strong with Cali. And they tend to ban Thatcher a lot, which they end up doing both games. So knowing that with a Cali ban and Thatcher ban, it forced more of like a clearing. As you saw on Kafe, we tend to roam a lot, so that kind of benefited us on Kafe. That was kind of like our game plan there. We figured that on the roam strat, they wouldn't be able to just like hit Bakery as easily. So that's where there. And then on Oregon, Cali's always useful. I mean, on every site, she's just amazing. So banning there, and again, knowing that they have a really strong Cali player, we know that we'll benefit more from it than they will.
Do you think having the Cali banned not necessarily made them lose the game, but do you think it would have been overtime had it been played?
I definitely think it would have been played way differently. I know their attacks would have been way different. Our defenses, at least on Oregon, were horrendous. We were kind of arguing a little bit in comms. We kind of got that settled for attack at least, but I do think it really changed their attack plan. I'm assuming after Kafe, once we banned it the first time, they kind of like figured we would ban it again. I'm not sure if the Kafe ban kind of shocked them a little bit, but I definitely do think it changed up their game plan a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Klaus, for letting us have an insight on the team and your processes too for some really interesting things. Connor, did you have any questions to ask?
I think you hit everything on the head perfectly. Once again, I'd like to congratulate you, as I do believe you just snaked your way into the 6th seed, overpassing Dallas Vendetta, as that's the new name of the roster formerly known as First Attempt. And you're just gonna have to sit here and kind of wait for them to play, and just wait for them and hope that they don't win. They play Friday night, so you're gonna have a little bit of a lull in action, waiting to see if did we really get the 6th seed? Are we really gonna be here? We're trying to punch our ticket into playoffs. But overall, I do have to say, the new meta does look very good on you guys. You guys are adopting it well. And I guess my last thing would be, do you have anything else you have to say? Any shout outs, any social media you want to plug, or anything like that?
I want to shout out Visionary. Like they're a really good team. They had pull out some really good strats. Really made our defense on Oregon look horrendous. Shout out to them. Great opponents. Love playing against them. Shout out to all the Emergence people, everyone from the org. They're very supportive, especially my teammates. My teammates are goats. You know, without them, I obviously wouldn't be where I am today. So glad we're all meshing well, and hope everyone enjoys.
I'm glad that was a very wholesome speech. Thank you very much, Clouds. It's always a pleasure to have you on here, and hopefully it's not going to be the last time we interview you either.
Hopefully not.
Thank you very much. But with that being said, though, we are just about done with the stream. It has been a fantastic show up between Emergence and Visionary. Overall, I was very happy overall to see these two teams really bring it pretty much to the maximum. And while Visionary did fall a little bit short, Connor, I do think, like Cloud said, they are a fantastic team to watch. And going into Season 5 in only a few weeks, I'm really excited to see what new stuff they can bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good game. That was the 7 versus the 8. You look at it on paper and you're not expecting it to be like really good. Like it wasn't on the caliber of something like Lycus versus Wichita. That was an explosive game, high tempo. But overall, the way that these two teams played, they played into each other quite nicely. There was actual counter stratting, and you could tell that they were wanting to be structured and wanting to play a certain way. They weren't just playing rank style, and just the way that they matched up. Overall, Emergence was just a little bit stronger. They just adjusted a little bit more, properly reading into exactly how the team wanted to play. They understand the meta a little bit more as we got that insight. Really impressive to see that they actually are thinking, hey, we don't have to utility burn anymore. This is amazing. A lot of teams are going to be set in their ways, a little bit stubborn for probably until the end of the season where they have the off areas. That's when they kind of will restructure their strats. Seeing a team adjust early as my cam gets sent to the Shadow Realm, but now I'm back, is really refreshing and was really, really nice to see. But with that, that's the end of the stream. We have no more to waffle on about. We do have Playday number 3 coming up. That is tomorrow night. I think we have Synthetic versus Ink coming up first, which I'm personally really excited to see. I know Exile and Nevozo and the rest of the crew all coming through on Ink are going to be really excited. They're salivating, they're licking their chops because they want to kill Hazmat. Because that's always fun. It's always fun to kill Hazmat.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that, I suppose. But with that being said, though, we will be wrapping things up. If you want to follow us on Twitter, make sure to follow SCS and Ferme and Henru behind the scenes of production. Go for it. But, you know, our tags are down below. It's at CDabs and at Keklinek. You should go for it.
Wait.
And yeah, it's one of these.
Right
I don't
here,
know.
right here. It's right here.
Okay, it's one of them. It's one of them. But with that being said, thank you very much for watching. We can't wait to see you guys tomorrow.